has received an offer for $250,000 from a adult entertainment company, I think is the best way to put that. An adult entertainment company has offered my dude $250,000 to, I'm assuming pole vault, right? Well, I'm assuming show up and teach people how to pole vault. What else would it be for?
Well, yeah, because pole vaulting is not easy. I know because I was a pole vaulter. So yeah, I mean, and he would be an expert at it. So,
I mean, I can't think of what else they would give him $250,000 for. $250,000 to become the most recognizable pole vaulter. Let's say on the internet. I would assume a lot of his pole vaulting instructions would be on the internet. That's just a guess. I don't know for sure.
You know, we had trouble finding the video yesterday. I think going forward, we probably shouldn't look for it because now other things might show up that probably would need scrubbed.
Maybe, but enjoy this work of art, Lonzo. I can't show it to all of you, but I can show it to the great one, Lonzo.
Wow. Is that like an actual
there it is.
Artist
there it is.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Somebody painted like oil painting painted.
I don't know. That might be one of those ones where they stopped it, got a clip of it, and then just put it through a filter, maybe.
Don't care. In my head, somebody took the time to oil paint the moment that defines the 2024 Summer Olympic Games.
It's a good thing it's not a Picasso because you never know where things might end up. Because parts end up in different places.
I mean, the whole concept of surrealism is that certain aspects of the art are portrayed in a way that perhaps to some degree does not match up with reality. That one did.
I just realized I missed an absolute opportunity to show this is how you lose a groin.
Yes, it is.
And I feel bad that I missed that opportunity.
Yes, it is, and yes, it was. You were not wrong. We will talk about the French pole vaulter later in the show because to me, it might be the funniest thing that's ever happened. I don't know why. I'm a child. I don't know what to tell you. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. Welcome in. Good to have you folks. We do have early morning Olympic basketball on. Deutschland taking on Greece. Hellas right now. Giannis Antetokounmpo has got the Grecians out to a lead up on Germany right now. They're knocking down everything they throw up at the bucket. 47-42, 5:48 left to play in the third quarter. This is a quarter-final match. The winner of this will move on to the semis. Roster to roster, Germany's better. Problem is Greece has got a cat out there running around right now named Giannis Antetokounmpo. And you may have heard of Giannis Antetokounmpo. Lonzo, he's an NBA guy. Pretty good, if we're being honest.
Yeah, it sounds familiar, like someone that maybe I should know.
It might behoove you to know Giannis Antetokounmpo. Outside of that, about 50 dudes on the court whose names I'm not even going to try to produce. We might take a stab at it later, like a blind name that Grecian player draw. See what we can come up with. Papa Dat. Nope. Not making a run at it. Can't do it. So we'll talk some Olympics as the show progresses. Simone Biles did pick up her fifth medal. That is now 11 overall in her career. She is now tied for the second most silver medals by a female gymnast in Olympic history. Will Simone Biles be back for the 2028 games in Los Angeles, California to try to eclipse that mark? Don't know yet. She could have taken sole possession of the second most medals for an Olympic gymnast yesterday, but she slipped off the balance bar during the balance bar competition. She slipped. 5 other competitors did as well. I'm real interested to see if there's any sort of ramifications to that, because it looked like everybody was struggling yesterday. Looked like the bar maybe a little too humid in that room. Put a little extra moisture on the bar. Not sure. Not that it would have mattered. Again, everybody competes on the same bar. But Simone got knocked off. She checked in 5th, just off the medal stand. So she will stop at 11 overall as her 2024 games have come to their conclusion. We do have basketball coming up today as Team USA will take on Brasilia at 3:30 this afternoon in another quarterfinal matchup. This one is actually a little bit more interesting on paper than a lot of people want to give it credit for, because Brasilia is the best offensive rebounding team remaining in the Olympic tournament. They are excellent at cleaning up the offensive glass, at earning second chances. The Americans are the 4th best defensive rebounding team remaining. That is actually one of the few places that the Americans have struggled so far this year, is rebounding. Can chalk a lot of that up to the rotation under the center, the rotation of the big men, Joel Embiid, Bam Adebayo, etc., that they've trotted out there, Anthony Davis, etc. You can chalk it up to the fact that they've got some excellent defensive big men down low, but guys that are focused on shot blocking and not collecting boards. So this is a game that the Americans should be, will be heavily favored in. But on paper, this one's really interesting to me. And as we pointed out, and I know it's cliche, somebody get the cliche sounder ready. I know it's very cliche, but this is one of those, or at least it feels to me like one of those games where you don't do everything right and you find yourself in a 4th quarter fist fight against the team you thought you were going to win over by 30.
I think your first step is do not put Steph out on the court. He's being so, I mean, I know I joke a bunch, but he's so inconsistent. I mean, he can't seem to make a shot right now. From what I heard earlier, they're keeping Kevin Durant and bringing him in off the bench, which is fine. I mean, because he comes in and brings a spark, but he shouldn't have to. He should not have to bring a spark. They shouldn't need one.
I will go with a couple of things here. Number one, I think every team can use a spark. And I said this yesterday. I filled in last night on BetMGM Tonight on the BetQL Network. And we were talking about this. And I said last night, I think Kevin Durant is the greatest Olympic basketball player of all time. Honestly, I think as far as performance in the games,
I think scoring wise, he is already. Right?
He already is the highest Olympic basketball scorer of all time. But I think I can add every element to his game. I can add all the different things he does to his game into that rotation. The big question for me, because I actually don't disagree about Steph Curry. I don't, because this is one of those times that while I am a Steph Curry stan, as the kids call it, while I am a Steph Curry stan, I'm also a USA stan. I'm also a dude that wants this team to win and win well. And Steph struggled. What do you go 0 for 6 from 3 in game 2? Like 2 of 8 from 3 in game 3? That's your thing, dude. Like, that's why you're out there. Steph Curry isn't a magnificent assist guy at the point. He's not a dribble drive creator. He's not a point guard that I want having the ball at the top of the key by himself and working the offense through him. He's a guy I want to be able to work an offense around until we find him a spot to shoot up and knock down a bucket. And he's not doing that right now. He's not. And if he's not doing that, then yeah, I got to go. Here's the problem you have. The problem you have is we don't know what the deal is with Jrue Holiday's ankle. Remember, Jrue had to miss that game against Puerto Rico the other day. Jrue missed that game against Puerto Rico with a banged up, not awful, but banged up ankle. And we don't, I have not seen nor heard any sort of update since then. So I don't know if Drew's available tonight. Or tonight or not. I say tonight. It's at 3:30 this afternoon. In France, it's tonight.
Well, and it's 6 hours ahead there, right? So it's noon there right now.
Yeah. So at 3:30, that'd be like a 10 o'clock tip, 10:30 tip,
9:30.
9:30 tip.
Yeah.
That's why all my jobs are Word's jobs right there. So I don't know if Holiday's available. If Holiday is unavailable, great one, you don't have a choice but to play Steph. If you don't have Drew Holiday, I don't think you have it. I could play Devin Booker. I could play D Book as the starting point. And I think I might have, in fact, D Book did start in the last game against Puerto Rico because Holiday was out. So, I mean, I guess that's the direction I take. But this is one of those spots where I am not envious of Steve Kerr. I'm not envious of Steve Kerr because coaching basketball, no problem. Coaching basketball, I'm good, right? I know ball. I can tell you who needs to go where, when, and why. Coaching basketball, I'm fine. Managing egos, I don't know how you do that. That's kind of the big problem. How do you look, especially if you're Steve Kerr, especially if you are the coach of his regular NBA team? How do you look Steph Curry in the face and go, hey, big dog, to the bench, bro? To the bench. I know you haven't not started a game in your career in ever, but to the bench, man. You're just not getting it done right now. And I don't know if it's because the dimensions of the Olympic floor are different. If because with Golden State, they're looking for Steph. I don't know that Team USA is or needs to be looking for Steph. I don't know what the difference is, but Steph Curry ain't the same cat in these Olympic Games. And if that's the case, I agree. I would go Drew Holiday as my one, put a set of clamps out there to lay some defense down at the PG spot, and D-Book 2 to give that change of pace. Going from the Drew Holiday defense to the D-Book uber-aggressive point guard that just wants to run to the rack. I like that back and forth, and I will go back and forth until Steph Curry is Steph Curry again. Now, what do you do to get Steph Curry back? Good luck, Steve Kerr. I got no damn idea.
Maybe someone needs to start a fight so he'll feel like he's back in Golden State, having to make up for what Draymond Green just did. And maybe you bring that Livingston guy off the bench.
Oh, yeah. Tyrese Livingston.
And just have him.
From the Sirs.
Yeah, from the Sirs. Just have him come in and start a fight, and then suddenly Steph will be into it.
I don't know. I don't know what the play is. I don't know what the play is. I don't know if the play is set Steph. I don't know if the play is get all up in Steph's business. Be like, hey, just so you know, the legacy of you at these Olympics is that you didn't help. You didn't. Now, I think there is some level of untruthiness to that because I think Steph Curry is an emotional leader. I think he's a locker room leader. I think he's one of those guys.
Do you need one of those, though? I mean, you got LeBron, you got plenty of other guys. I don't think you actually need that for this group. Or you shouldn't in the locker room. Obviously, they did on the court when LeBron had to come in and make sure they won that game.
I think you shouldn't is idealism, right? Like, yeah, you're right. We shouldn't. But that ain't how sports work. That ain't how sports work. You shouldn't need Patrick Mahomes to be running up and down the sideline, getting into dudes' grills to get them right. But it happens. It's got to happen sometimes. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the right way to handle it is. What I know is this. Brazil rebounds. They get extra chances. They get second possessions. They want to try to utilize offensive glass to keep them close until you're tired. I need Anthony Davis. I need Joel Embiid. And I need Bam Adebayo cleaning the glass today. If they can do that, we're in a pretty good spot. Pretty good spot. All right, let's take a break. We got a lot of basketball to talk today. A lot of NFL to talk today. Yesterday, I was on BetMGM Tonight filling in for Ryan. And we got into another conversation about guys getting paid. Brock Purdy came up. And I said something yesterday that I got told by two people was a very hot take. And I don't think it is. I want to run it by Lonzo and see if he thinks it is or not. We'll do that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. All right, guys, quick live read. Good morning, Mike. Good morning, Brian. Y'all stay right there.
Sorry, dude.
That's not on you. Well, it was nice for the one segment it lasted.
I was trying to make up for yesterday, where I don't think I played it at all yesterday.
Oh, I know for a fact you did.
I don't.
At least once.
I don't think I did.
Hey, can I ask you a quick question real quick?
Well, we got like 3 hours and 39
I can ask
minutes.
you lots of questions.
Yes, you can.
So here's the question I was am debating right now.
Uh-oh.
I really, really dig these Greek basketball jerseys, like a lot. I really like them. They're like a shade darker than a North Carolina baby blue. They have the Greek name for Greece across the front, Hellas. They have this really cool kind of like, it's not gator skin, but like pattern texture to them. It is, and I mean this, I think it's my favorite basketball jersey in these Olympics, and I am including our own. I'm kind of let down by the Team USA jerseys this year, right? They're kind of high schoolish if we're keeping it a buck.
I'm trying to look close and see if I see the gator in it. And I think I saw the pattern just a little bit.
Yeah, like well, now you get it from Giannis. There you go. It's like I don't really know how to describe it. It's like it's like a gator scale, but without like the ridges in the middle of the squares, right? It's more like it's almost like a geometric pattern to it. I really like them.
I think I had that pattern on a skateboard once, but it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a very cool looking jersey. I dig it a lot.
No one's gonna know. Very few people are gonna know what it means if you get that.
I guess that's my question.
No, that's an advantage. So then you don't look less American, because right now you're trying to betray the country by wearing someone else's jersey.
Well, so what I was going to say is to get to the question I was going to ask is, if I wear it outside of the Olympics and outside of the FIBA World Cup, right? Like I'm not going to put it on while the Americans are in the Olympics. But if I got one and I rock that jersey outside of one of the two massive international basketball tournaments, is that fair play or not? I feel like it is.
If you match it up with your glasses and your shoes, people just think you're doing the fashion thing. So you're good. And you do that anyway. So I don't see why that would be a problem. And like I said, it's not like it says Greece across it.
I mean, even if it did, but it says Hellas. And as a history /
and if someone
cultural dork, that's awesome.
If someone says Greece, you can just say summer lovin' had me a blast.
I actually had the last song from Greece stuck in my head yesterday, and I don't know where it came from. Not Grease the country, Grease the movie.
Well, always
better
be
shape
together.
up, okay. Cause I need a man, and my heart is set on you. You better shape up. Well, you better understand.
Did you have an argument yesterday?
To my heart, I must be true. Nothing left for me and you. I can't do the next part. I don't feel great. I feel like I got hit by a truck, so I can't do the next part.
You got to use that as a reason.
You're the one and I want.
Yeah, you probably should.
The one that I can't do it. But the point here is, I feel like it's okay. I feel like it's good. I look at it this way. I don't wear for my football teams.
You're basically wearing the Greece colors right now.
Yeah, but I'm not wearing a Greece jersey, right? I'm wearing an American golf course polo, which doesn't help my 1%er argument at all. But so here's what I'd say. I'm a Saints fan. I don't think I've kept that a secret from you guys at all. I would never, and when I say never, I mean never wear an Atlanta Falcons jersey. Would never do it. Never do it. All right? And there have been some Falcons I have genuinely loved. Peter Rourke, Warrick Dunn, Sammy Knight. That's a real throwback reference there. But there's Morton Anderson, the kicker, who was a former Saint. A lot of Falcons that I liked, even though I hated they played in Atlanta.
I don't know if I'd admit to Morton Anderson because his helmet just looks so weird.
The Great Dane, baby.
Yeah, I know, but it was.
But he spent a long time booting the uprights for New Orleans too. It was like a personal connection. But there are some teams that I would wear a jersey of a player I really like. I would absolutely wear, and I don't know if this is fair or foul. The text line is open at 71307. Start your text with FAN, FAN, 71307 FAN. Is this fair or foul? I'm a Saints fan, but I'd rock a Marshawn Lynch Seahawks jersey.
Somewhere in the great white north, the arbiter has turned his head in the direction of the south.
There's a disturbance in the force.
Yes. Dude, wear whatever you want. I mean, I don't think it's a betrayal of your team, especially if it's a throwback. Because a throwback, I mean, Marshawn Lynch doesn't play anymore.
I think so. So first off, I would only do throwbacks, right? I would only do a throwback. I wouldn't wear like a modern 49ers jersey. But I'd wear a Jerry Rice 49ers jersey.
I get the hate when I wear Gamecock gear and Ohio State gear. I don't care if people get mad about that. Or when I wear some Panther gear, because I've said many times, that's my other team. I don't think
but those are your teams. I'm saying if you're an Ohio State guy, you have an affinity for South Carolina. If you rode up in here one day wearing a throwback jersey of a player you really like that played at Cal, right? That played for the Golden Bears. If you rode up in that jersey, when you don't have a connection to the school, but let's say a player you really like played there and you got that throwback jersey, is that fair or foul? I think it's fair.
See, football's the only sport where you have a problem with that, because basketball you can wear just about anything. Because I think there are a lot of people who follow players and don't follow teams. So it's not unusual to see someone wear a couple different basketball jerseys in a week.
I don't disagree with that, because again, like, I only own a fistful of basketball jerseys, and one of them is a Dirk Nowitzki Dallas Mavericks jersey, right? So I think you're right, because I think the NBA, and I don't know if this is a problem or not, I think we've had this discussion in days gone by. I think basketball, more than any other sport, basketball is a sport where fans follow players, right? We follow stars. And basketball has kind of set itself up for that, because they've always hyped their players, not their teams. And so they've created this world where, everybody used to be a Miami Heat fan. Then LeBron went to C-Town for another run. And everybody, all of a sudden, you saw people wearing Cleveland jerseys out there. And then he takes his talents to LA, and now all of a sudden the Lakers have a resurgence in merch sales, right? I think the NBA, but here's the thing. I'm not talking about getting a Giannis Antetokounmpo Bucks jersey. I'm talking about getting a Giannis Antetokounmpo Greece jersey, is buying another country's jersey for an active player the same as buying another team's jersey for an active player.
All right, and so now you just got specific. Before you were just talking about getting a jersey, but now you named the player. That changes. I think that changes it, because you're getting a Giannis jersey.
Oh, for sure. What other Grecian player would I get, right?
Then it factors into the basketball, the NBA conversation, and I don't think there's a problem at all.
I am looking up and down the Grecian roster. And aside from my inability to pronounce the overwhelming majority of the names on there confidently, there's not really anybody else on the team there. I'm like, I'd buy that. Like, I'm sure I could get a Vasilis Charalampopoulos jersey. Actually, I think I nailed that.
Yeah, you did.
Vasilis Charalampopoulos. You know what? I need to text.
All right, here's what you need to do. Pretend like you're in the movie 300 and pronounce it.
Yeah, but those weren't the Grecians. Those were the Spartans. It's a different group of people.
Well, but still, they all have the same accent, I think.
No.
Sure they do.
Very different cultures, very different places. The Greeks were known for their literature and scholarliness, whereas the Spartans were known for throwing babies off the top of mountains.
All right. Where were the Spartans? What country
Sparta.
Were they in? Where's that
They're
at?
in Sparta.
Where's that at?
Away from the Athenians, which we would largely consider the Grecians. I mean, Sparta was in Greece, but
okay.
they were the Spartans.
All right, so we just got to my point.
Right, but you're saying that you're saying the
They would have similar accents because they're on the same continent, unless they're like Southern. I don't know. I mean,
Sparta was an ancient Greek city-state in the region of Laconia in southern Greece and was known as Lacedaemon. Sparta was one of the largest and most powerful city-states. And so, I mean, they were Greece, but I think when we think Grecians, at least the way it was presented, I think we think the Athenians.
All right, again,
this is weird.
Unless it's like a Southern accent and a Northern accent and all that kind of stuff.
Giannis Antetokounmpo come
Right.
Jersey.
What I'm saying is, if you pretended like you were in 300 and pronounced it, it would sound better. And I think I was right.
Earth and dirt. No, I can't even do it. I can't do it.
See, that's really what it comes down to is you can't do it.
Listen, what would I be? Am I an Athenian or am I a Spartan? Come on, we all know. Look at these glasses. All right. I'm very clearly in the Library of Alexandria.
Well, then you shouldn't have a problem pronouncing.
So here's my question. Texter Eric writes in and said, Big Foul, you never wear another team's jersey. It's called being a fair weather fan. EAGLES Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, you go ahead. Who defined that for you? Was this given down? What was his name? Eric? Was this given down from? Did your dad teach that, and his dad taught that, and his dad taught that? Is that where this came from?
Well, I mean, listen.
I mean, or is this something that you just? Is it an unwritten rule? I mean, who comes up with this stuff? I want to know.
Well, again, I mean, it's 100%. Whether it is a family thing or a cultural thing, people have cultural beliefs and differences, right? Like you and I have outside of the building wrestling, old cartoons, and sports. That's it.
And video games.
And video games.
And comic books.
And comic books.
I mean, dude, if you want to try to make us.
All right, hang on. Wait.
We have a couple major differences.
Let me finish the thought. If it's Friday at 11:45 at night, are you and I anywhere close to being the same person?
Yes.
No.
Yes, we are.
No,
we're both asleep because you're old now.
Not on a Friday.
You're old now. You're asleep. Yeah, you are.
I'm at least sitting on the couch in the Borough Cave knocking back some whiskey.
All right, this Friday I'm texting you at 11:45. You're going to ignore it because the only nights I can stay up are Friday and Saturday night. So
the point here is that I don't care if people feel that way. All right, have at it. That's fine. Is it the same though? And I guess the question should have been phrased better. Is it the same? Does that same rule apply to a different country's jersey, right? If I go by, here's another one. If I go buy a Lionel Messi Argentina jersey,
no one's going to say anything, and that's why the other should not matter. Soccer is an outlier, supposedly, but is it? Because it's the world sport, so it should be the setting precedent. So if it's okay to do it with soccer, should be able to do it with any other sport.
I mean, I think so, right? Like I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not doing it right now because, again, we're in wedding savings season. But I'm going to tell you right now, when we get done with that, I really am moving this baby blue with the white trim Greece Giannis Antetokounmpo jersey because I'm a big Giannis guy. I think I'm moving it to the top of the next jersey purchased list. I really dig it. So if I only wear it outside of international competition windows, outside the Olympics, outside of the FIBA World Cup, is that a fan foul or not? 71307 is the text line. Start your text with fan,
and
F-A-N.
He's skinny now, so he won't look like Big Baby Davis when he wears it.
Yeah, fat guys can't wear basketball jerseys. All right, you gotta have a little definition to rock a basketball jersey, and I'm working on that. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back here in just a minute from right now. Yesterday, got the chance to have a kind of interesting conversation with Kelly Ford. Kelly Ford runs a computer simulation model where he runs and simulates thousands of college football seasons, makes a conglomeration of the results and makes season projections. We talked to FSU Clemson last night. I'll play what Kelly had to say for you, and we'll get your thoughts next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate. See, I dig that, Jacob. I also think that the more obscure the sport, the less people care, right?
Exactly. That's why I was talking about soccer. Would I take advantage of you when you're not feeling well? Yes, I would. Gee, I know why he's trending.
French pole vaulter?
No, I'm not saying. Don't know why, but I always believe etiquette has 4 T's, but it only has 3.
Save big on back to school with Staples Hot Deals. Right now, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comic books are only 50 cents each at Staples. Penzi 24 each for only limited.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer.
See, that's another thing, Jacob. I think rugby's another one. I mean, because there are really cool jerseys across the world, but I think football is the only one that people. I mean, some could say it's tribalism or it's just, but it's. I think football, American football, is the only one where it's not okay for you to wear another jersey. Because Jacob brings up rugby, and there's some really cool rugby jerseys.
Like, I think the obscure, like a more obscure sport, people will care less. There's an old Greek jersey that has Greek, but it's in old Greek, like in ancient Grecian alphabet. And I'm like, that was a dope look too.
Well, and if someone says something to you, you could just say it's your fraternity.
I mean, Sigma, Lambda, Alpha, Psi.
I don't know if there are fraternities that have that many letters, but it could be. My fraternity only had 2. So, I mean, you know.
So yesterday, I got a call from hating ass Mario. Mario said, "Bro, can you step in for Ryan Horvat tonight and host BetMGM tonight?" And because I'm a good friend, I said, "Yeah, bud. For you, I will absolutely stay up late, and also because I'm getting paid for it. Absolutely happy to do so." So that's what I did last night. I stayed up a little late, took a good nap in the day, and did a little BetMGM tonight with Nick Ashu. And one of the interviews that they booked was a gentleman by the name of Kelly Ford. Now, Kelly Ford does college football power rankings, and they're very interesting. He runs through a complicated computer model. He tried to explain it to me off the air, and I'm I'm dumb and I don't know computers. Like I figured out how to turn one on this morning and I was pretty happy about that. But he simulates hundreds, if not thousands, of college football seasons based on rosters and schedules and all that going into any given season. And it spits out preseason projections that, to me, are kind of interesting. I went back and I compared last year's, and he got most everything, if not right, very close to it. And I thought it was worth a look. So Nick Ashew and I were going back and forth, discussing, debating some of the different teams and how his simulator ended up ranking them. And of course, because I am, if nothing else, a man of the people, I asked about the ACC, specifically the two teams at the top. If you did not see it or you didn't listen to the show yesterday, the media poll that we all voted on during ACC Media Week a couple of weeks ago has come out. And Florida State was selected by the media to repeat as Atlantic Coast Conference champions, but not by a very wide margin. Well, Kelly Ford's power rankings agreed with that.
Yeah, it's a good question. And I do think they kind of are the clear-cut favorites, right? Like I have about a half game gap between Florida State and Clemson, projecting to win 6 conference games. The ACC plays 8. So on average, these teams projecting to go 6-2. Louisville is number 3 in my projected standings with 5.6 wins. So, 4/10, half of a game may not sound like a lot, but over the course of only an 8-game season, that actually is a pretty significant gap. So how do these two teams stack up, within that conference? They are my 2 highest power rated teams. They do, from a schedule difficulty standpoint, play some of the more difficult schedules in the ACC. Florida State's overall schedule difficulty, number 24 out of 68 Power 4 teams. Clemson is number 30 out of 68. So those numbers don't jump off the page, but relative to ACC scheduling, unless you're Georgia Tech, who just has an absolutely unreal schedule, probably doesn't belong in the ACC from a scheduling standpoint. But outside of Georgia Tech, these schedules are up there in terms of their difficulty, especially Florida State's when you're looking at just conference play. If you strip away the 4 non-conference games, just look at their conference slate. It's the number 4 most difficult schedule in the ACC. Of course, these two teams do play each other. That game is in Tallahassee in week 6. I currently have a 59% win expectancy for the Noles. So that game right there may be the difference between who's the number 1 and number 2 team if these two were to meet up in Charlotte at the end of the year, which right now my model projects both of them to get there.
Yep. So that's what he says. Now, looking at the projections themselves, he says there's a 9% chance that Florida State goes undefeated in the ACC, 8% that Clemson does. Both teams have a 27% chance of losing one ACC game. Both teams have FSU has a 33% chance of going 6-2. Clemson a 34% chance of going 6-2. Florida State a 21% chance of winning 5. Clemson a 22% chance. Florida State an 8% chance of going 4-4, identical to Clemson. And Florida State a 2% chance of going 3-5, identical to Clemson. There was no other school anywhere close to those numbers. The third in terms of that power ranking from Kelly Ford is
I was going to point out, no one can seem to say Louisville because I went Louisville on purpose.
They'll get real mad at you.
I don't care. I got Ken in Kentucky. But anyway, without sounding country, even he did it.
Louisville.
If you go Louisville.
Oh,
it's like Greenville.
They've got them with a 4% chance of going 8-0 in the conference.
Do you believe that, though? Do you believe that Louisville will do that?
I know for a fact. When I was broadcasting down in Destin, college basketball. I
was talking about.
I thought you were talking about, would they get mad at you not saying Louisville correctly?
I know about, again, I have family in Kentucky. Yeah. I know some of the things that they get mad about. So.
No. In fact, if anything, if you ask me which of these teams I think were most. So here, I'll give you the rest of them. Louisville, a 4% chance to go 8-0 in conference. Miami, 3%. NC State, 2%. Same with SMU. Virginia Tech, 1%. North Carolina, 1%. Nobody else has even 1% chance of going 8-0 in conference. And I would also point out that a big chunk of this, keep in mind, and the reason that both FSU and Clemson have that 9 or 8% chance to go 8-0 is they play each other, right? And this year it's down in Tallahassee. Kelly Ford said about a 60% chance, according to his model, that Florida State wins down there. Now, as we've pointed out a lot of times, simulations can only do so much. That's why we play the game on the field and not in the computers. But Louisville's got Georgia Tech on the schedule, SMU on the schedule, Virginia, Miami, Clemson, Stanford, Pitt, and Notre Dame that they've got to contend with. No, I actually like Louisville, but I don't think Louisville's going 8-0. I don't think Miami's going 8-0. Although Miami has more All-ACC media selections on the All-ACC roster than any other school does. Question mark for Miami is not talent. They've got one of the more talented rosters in the nation this year. Question is execution. I just don't believe in that team, like at all. NC State, again, Grayson McCall. Is he the real deal? Is what he was doing at Coastal before he moved over? Is that a big deal? Was that legitimate or not? We'll find out. We both like SMU a lot. We've talked about this during ACC Media Days. I really like SMU. I think SMU is absolutely a dark horse this year. Do I think they're going 8-0? Nah, I don't. I think there are two schools that can go 8-0. I think it's Florida State and I think it's Clemson. Clemson does play Louisville, and they also play Florida State. So Clemson plays the other two teams that have the best chance of going 8-0 in the conference, according to the Kelly Ford rankings, the Kelly Ford projections. So the conference is, I think, great one. I think it's kind of easy to project this year. Florida State and Clemson are gonna be competing for the ACC championship in terms of regular season title. My question mark is, can Louisville, Miami, or NC State do enough to dark horse the loser of the Florida State-Clemson game out of a rematch in the ACC title game? And the answer to me is probably not. Because even if Louisville gets Clemson, let's say Florida State beats Clemson and Louisville beats Clemson, Clemson's still sitting on a 32% chance of going 6-2 and a 27% chance of going 5-3, which is higher than Clemson in both cases. So I think even if Louisville knocks off Clemson and Florida State ends up winning over Clemson, so let's say Clemson ends up at 6-2 in the conference, I still think there's losses elsewhere for Louisville. As much as I like this team, as much as I like Braum, I don't think they have a quarterback like they have in years gone by. That's kind of been the big deal for Louisville the last couple of years, right? They've been able to roll some top-notch quarterbacks through there to pick up in spots that they are lacking. I don't think they have that this year. I think that they are an outfit that's got some talent. But if I'm looking up and down at the QB spot, I mean, Tyler Shough could be very good, but I don't see any reason to fall over backwards about him compared to some of the other quarterbacks in this league, right? Now, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. And I think we had this conversation during ACC Media Week as well. A lot of this depends on Cade Klubnik. Does he develop? A lot of it depends on DJ Uiagalelei. Getting to play one season without pressure on him. Getting to play one season without having to deal with super high expectations. Is DJ a better player? Cam Ward coming down to Miami. Cam Ward is projected to be the best quarterback in the conference. Cam Ward also transferred to Miami because he wasn't that guy in the last place he played. So I will say, the one place that I think that there is a major variable that can maybe upset the projections is the thing that the ACC is bragging about the most. The one thing I think could upset the projections is the thing I think the ACC plastered all over the walls during media days. The quarterbacks. I pointed this out a number of times when we were there. Every third wall had a big old poster hanging on it that said, Conference of Quarterbacks. Okay? Are they? Like, are we all on board with that? I don't know if I am. I don't know what Cade is. I don't know what DJ is. I think Cam Ward can be very good. Those are the top three guys. Grayson McCall. I don't know what Grayson McCall is going to be at NC State. We know what he was at Coastal. He rocked at Coastal. A lot of guys come up from FCS to FBS and the transition doesn't go well. Will it for him? I don't know. So I want to say the ACC is overall pretty easy to project and prognosticate. I want to say overall, it's pretty much lined up the way the media thought it was going to line up. Because the Kelly Ford rankings and the ACC media rankings pretty much checked in the same. Florida State 1, a small gap down to Clemson 2, Louisville, Miami 3-4. I think that if I recall correctly, I don't have it in front of me. I think the media actually had Miami 3, Louisville 4. But it's overall pretty close, right? So what is the thing we're missing here? What's the variable that maybe changes this up a little bit? I think it's the quarterbacks. I think it's DJ. I think it's Cade. I think it's Cam. I think it's Tyler. I think it's Grayson. I think those are the guys that have an influence.
So they weren't wrong when they say about the quarterbacks. What they really meant is they're going to decide if it's a good conference or not.
Conference of questions about quarterbacks.
Yes.
Doesn't too much ink on the posters they hung up.
Yeah. And it's hard to get a question mark font just right because everything looks like the Riddler or the Joker, and it just you don't want to do that.
I'm wrong. So I look at this. I look at this ranking. We heard what Kelly Ford had to say. Effectively, it's Florida State's the favorite by about a half a game in his power rankings. And I don't think it's unfair. I will tell you, I went back and forth about who I was voting number one. Because while the portal class was excellent for FSU, was last year's success in the portal, was it the exception or was it the rule? And I think we're going to find out this year. Because again, they lost a ton of talent. Johnny Wilson, Keon Coleman, Trey Brenson, Jordan Travis. Lost a ton of talent, but they also reloaded a ton of talent out of the portal. Is it enough? I don't know. But I think this conference comes down to the quarterbacks. I think this conference comes down to the guys that we listed there a second ago. I think this conference comes down to the ones that we mentioned. And if that is the case, Lonzo, who do you trust right now? I know we got to go to break. If I asked you right now, you got to pick one of those two guys. Who do you trust more to lead the franchise? DJ Uiagalelei or Cade Klubnik right now today?
See, whatever I say, people are going to say it's biased.
Welcome to sports radio, baby.
Yeah, I'm going to go with DJ. And here's the reason why. He won at Clemson, not enough for the fans. He won at his last stop, and he's going to win in Florida State. Did he go undefeated? No. But I think as far as a quarterback, if you had to pick between the two to lead your team, and those were the only two, I'm going to go with DJ.
A lot of people would. I'm not saying they're right or wrong. I'm just saying they would. And I think that is the reason. That Florida State and Clemson are 1-2, not just in the media poll, but in the Kelly Ford rankings as well. So there you go. There's some thoughts from our show last night where we talked college ball. I want your reaction to them. 71307. Start your text with Fan FM. We'll read them on the air. When we come back, water cooler cheat sheet, top 3 sports stories you need to know. Hey, here's some sports stories you need to know in Lonzo's Sports Flash.
And yes, I'm leading with the Michigan. Deal with it. Los Angeles Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh has claimed he has no knowledge of the sign-stealing scandal that continues to develop at Michigan. Harbaugh said in a press conference, "I do not apologize. I did not participate, was not aware nor complicit in these said allegations." And then he said haters and haterade and Michigan. Head coach Sharon Moore faces more allegations for his involvement in this scandal. Team USA men's basketball will begin the knockout round today at 3:30 when they take on Brazil. Brazil is one of the best rebounding teams in the tournament with more offensive glass than any other team still standing. And shoot three-pointers at a 45% rate. The Americans are 4th in rebounds per game, though they have scored 100-plus points. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for our brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Dees will get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, whole lot of fun. It's all Wire to Wire. Why are you bringing your sickness closer to me? What are you? Well, you know, if they call it a night, the host say no and just like actually rest.
Yeah, I don't see no very often, but that might be the right play.
I get why you're doing that. You're doing that off camera.
Correct.
The question is, what is he doing off camera?
Hey, hungry for lunch? Head to Three Friends Bar and Grill. Enjoy made-from-scratch salads, sandwiches, and burgers. Watch the game while savoring our fresh, never-frozen dishes. Visit us in the Public Shopping Center on Wayne.
Yeah.
Check out our full menu at threefriendsbar.com.
When people have a craving to explore new and traditional Asian cuisines, they head to P.F. Chang's, where scratch-made dishes come from the 2,000-year-old tradition of wok cooking.
You're going home early. You're going to miss the free food. That part is when you get so run down. If you don't get rest, you're going to cause yourself to
That's
get
where-
other
that's where I'm
kinds of
at.
sickness.
That's
Yeah.
where I'm at. My fear is if I don't go home and give myself like a good amount of sleep today, I will get sick. Glasses are hurting my head. Attaboy, Steven. What's the goal weight, bud? Where are you trying to get to? I dig it. Good luck, partner. Keep grinding. We're going to get there.
QC in the first break.
You see in the first break. Here we go. Hour number 2 of the Rob Brown Show starts now. It is the fan upstate. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, a.k.a. The Variable. Glad to have you here on the show. Rock climbing. It's not that I don't think I could get to the top of the wall, great one. It's how Spider-Man these dudes go when they get up there. Like, I think I could get up there. I just think it would take me like 12 to 15 minutes These guys scale this whole ass wall in seconds. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm not doing that. I get probably a third of the way up and then start getting dizzy. So no, thank you. It's either this or equestrian. This is more fast paced with real athletes.
I could do some equestrian. It's just that the horse would be like, dude, no. Not
anymore.
I won the 115-pound dude, not this fat tabulard over here.
You're progressing towards not being fat.
I am, but I will never be a 110-pound jockey. Like that poor horse, the horse that drew me.
Who
poor
else
guy.
won't be? The majority of people on Earth.
Correct. That's why I can't be a jockey. All right, here we go. We got oh, come on. Oh, the comeback's on for Team USA. Get it. Yeah. 0.3 of a second. The American will move on in rock climbing 101.
It looks like Mario with
It does look like Mario. You're
darker
not
hair.
wrong.
Yeah, it's weird. Hard watching rock climbing because I have a hard time believing that the harness isn't helping. Because it looks like wire work from a superhero movie. Because of how fast they move, it almost makes you think
you can see the slack. I think it's
in slow mo, but when they go fast, it just looks like
I think it's kind of like it's kind of like your seatbelt, right? Like if you're in your car and you lean forward, your seatbelt comes out, but if you jerk forward, the gears click in. I think that's what it is. Either way, you know what? I take it back. I'm not making it up that wall, bud. I'm not making it up. The more I'm sitting here thinking about it, we did the conversation last night on BetMGM tonight about if you went and got 100 random dudes, like what Olympic events would you guarantee a top 10 finish for yourself in? And everybody says handball for sure. I said I guarantee shooting and archery. I'm top 10 in both of those for sure. I grew up doing that. I'm not finishing rock climbing. There's just no chance. Can't be top 10 if you DNF, and there's no chance either one of us is finishing one of these walls.
All right, let's be honest. Look around your place of business. How many people there might be some rock climbers in your place of business if you've got a very big thing. Ain't nobody in this building doing rock climbing. Maybe a random salesperson whose name I don't know.
There might be one or two downstairs that could do it. The downstairs folks, they're all about being pretty.
No, they say they do it, but no one's ever actually seen them do it. So I mean, I don't know. Definitely no one upstairs.
It is 7:03 in the morning. You have got just a little under 57 and a half minutes before you got to get to the office, before you got to clock in and lock in, before you got to respond to the boss's passive-aggressive emails. Make sure you didn't forget to do anything yesterday that you're supposed to do every single day. And if you did, get caught up on that. But then,
but the boss, he could do that because he's
this Russian dude just got his ass kicked.
The boss is very muscular and very fit, so he definitely could do it.
Dude, I don't know, man. Like these dudes throw themselves up the wall, right? They don't climb it; they propel themselves up the wall. Hey, water cooler cheat sheet.
Are you ready for the playbook of the peculiar, the almanac of the absurd, and the encyclopedia of the extraordinary? Well, you better be, because we're diving headfirst into the 3 top stories that will have your coworkers saying,
I'm not going to play with it anymore.
Yes, stop it.
before they take their first bathroom break.
No.
Here we go. Welcome to the water cooler cheat sheet on the Fan Upstate.
It's the water cooler cheat sheet, the top 3 sports stories that you need to know before you get to the office this AM and start talking sports. When you do, this is what you're going to be discussing. Let us jump right in with item number 1. Talked about it last night. We are 18 days away from college football getting started. 18 days to college football kickoff, which means it's time for preseason polls to start dropping. 18 days, 5 hours, 54 minutes, and 38 seconds if you'd like to be a little bit more dialed in. We got our first big-time poll yesterday. Do preseason polls matter at all? No, they don't. Is it something to talk about? You're damn right it is, so we're going to.
They definitely don't matter anymore like they used to, especially with the expanded playoff.
See, I think you're right, but also I disagree a little bit because I do think we're going to end up in some spots where there are some teams that are kind of duking it out for those last 3 or 4 at-large
I was going to
selections.
say, as long as you're in the top 10, you're good.
Theoretically, but again, I think we're going back to the higher you start at the beginning, the better the chance that the higher you are at the end, right? Like if there's 2 teams that end up with a very similar result when it's all said and done, if a team started 8th versus a team starting 27th, they're probably going to have a little more notoriety. And don't tell me that we're going to suddenly stop making polls a beauty contest. We are.
Well, I think there's a couple teams, so I can't wait to hear the poll because I haven't looked at it, that start off with really big games, and they're definitely going to drop. But if they weren't in the top 12 in the beginning, then they've got a harder road to climb.
Let's take a look at the USA Today coaches poll that has dropped. The USA Today coaches poll came out yesterday, and we got a pretty good look at where we stand. Iowa 25, Kansas 24. Iowa, interesting team out of the Big Ten, a team that caused some fits, can't score any points, but do a real good job at stopping you from scoring points. Kansas, I think a dark horse team in the Big 12 to win that conference. USC will start down at 23. Why is USC in the top 25? Why is USC up here? Why is USC higher than Washington or Louisville?
What conference is USC in?
That would be the Big Ten as well.
Okay, that probably helped bolster. Maybe.
Sure, but we're going to sit here and not take into consideration what they did, or should I say not do last year? Like, I'm not a dude. You've heard me say this over and over. When we talk about teams in 2024, I'm talking about teams in 2024, not teams from 2023. But there are some patterns, there are some trends that must not be overlooked. USC is USC. I will take Louisville ahead of them, to be honest.
So preseason polls are just educated speculation. So, I mean, they haven't seen them on the field either. So we'll see how right they are about that.
That is correct. You don't, but you also kind of do. We see camps, we see spring training, we've seen fall camps, right? We don't like we do.
You're talking about practice.
We're talking about practice, not a game, not the game we know and love. We talk about practice. But again, this is why we go to Carolina Fan Camp, right? So we can put eyeballs on the team and go, this is what we saw in practice, and hopefully it translates over. USC 23, NC State 22, Arizona 21, Texas A&M, the Colt inside the top 20. They're one spot behind Miami at 19, Oklahoma State at 18, 17 is Kansas State. Oklahoma checks in at 16, one spot behind SEC rival Tennessee. Oklahoma, one spot behind SEC rival. Okay. Utah. Nope, excuse me.
I'm still laughing about Tennessee being ranked so low because they're up and coming. They're gonna be there every year. I'm
gonna tell you,
they're gonna be there. Yeah.
I actually kind of like Tennessee a lot this year.
Okay, we'll see.
Heupel's doing a great job, and they got a wide receiver that calls himself Squirrel. How you topping Squirrel?
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
actually.
It is. Yeah. Tennessee 15, one spot behind number 14, Clemson. They check in at 14th, a spot behind Utah. LSU is 12th, Missouri 11, FSU, the top-rated ACC team, at number 10. Penn State is 9. Michigan is number 8 to start their title defense. Notre Dame is 7. Ole Miss 6. Alabama 5. Texas 4. Oregon 3. Ohio State number 2. Just about 60 points behind number 1 ranked Georgia. Nope. Ohio State shouldn't be there.
I did that on Georgia, not on Ohio State, because Ohio State should be number 1 and Georgia should be number 2.
Yeah, I really hope at some point in the future people start respecting Georgia. You know, like I think they've earned some recognition.
Did they win the national championship last year?
They did not, but you want to use that logic?
Yeah, I know Ohio State didn't either, but this Ohio State is being touted as one of the best put together teams since the transfer portal.
Georgia.
Or we're going to see. We're going to see. Nobody knows. I mean, I think you could interchange those and people wouldn't get mad.
The top 6 spots in this poll belong to either the SEC or the Big Ten. An independent at number 7, 8 and 9, both Big Ten teams. The highest ranked non-SEC or Big Ten school that's not Notre Dame is FSU at number 10.
All right, so the question is, Clemson being at 14, if that stands, that's not a good spot for them, because if people believe, and seems like the majority of the people believe they're going to lose to Georgia, how far do they drop and how hard is that road to get back into the top 12? You've definitely got to be 1 or 2, and there's no way you could be 3.
First off, they are absolutely losing to Georgia. All right. And I'm sorry, all due respect. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like they're not. They absolutely are that Georgia's going to be, scratch that. Georgia is a 2-touchdown favorite for a reason. They just are. We'll talk more about that game later on in the show. Let's get to item number 2. Where's the... It's time for another episode of CSI Ann Arbor. Jim Harbaugh is the head coach of the LA Chargers. And yesterday, Jim Harbaugh took to the podium out there in LA. And when you know it, people wanted to talk about Michigan because we've had some new developments in CSI Ann Arbor. We found out that Sherrone Moore, the new head coach of the Michigan Wolverines, had as many as 52 text messages back and forth between himself and Connor Stalions during the sign-stealing scandal that rocked Michigan. Harbaugh got asked about it. Here is what Jim had to say when he took to the podium yesterday.
Never lie, never cheat, never steal. I was raised with that lesson. I have raised my family on that lesson. I have preached that lesson to the teams that I've coached. No one's perfect. If you stumble, you apologize, and you make it right. Today, I do not apologize. I did not participate, was not aware, nor complicit in those said allegations. So for me, it's back to work and attacking with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
Attacking with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
Also, like 2 separate possible wrestling references in there.
Thank you.
Including lying, cheating, and stealing, which, yeah, I mean, I heard the music when he said it. And then
Viva la raza!
he also said, no one's perfect. And I heard a certain quote when he said that.
Nobody's perfect, but I am very, very close.
It's a champ right there. Yeah. How much do you believe Jim Harbaugh?
Honestly, I don't know, dude.
I don't know either.
I
would like
know.
to say, he's lying. But, plausible deniability, you let the assistant coaches do what they do, and you just handle, what you handle, and then you don't have to know. But if it's under your leadership, you are responsible whether you know or not.
I'm a big Sopranos guy, right? I love The Sopranos. I watched The Sopranos last year. I just kind of stumbled into The Sopranos. I didn't watch it when it came out in, 2001 or whatever. But I found it, and I got super into it. And not only did I watch it, but I went back and watched it again. I love The Sopranos. And one of the things that you got from that is that Tony, who a couple episodes in becomes the de facto boss of the New Jersey side of the family, huh? One of the things that Tony Soprano would do is he would make it clear that he wanted something done, but then he would not outright give the order to whatever goon had to go do the thing that he wanted done, right? Like, the reason being, if Tony ever got hauled into jail, like you said, plausible deniability. He doesn't know. He wouldn't tell family members about what was going on. So that if Carmela got hauled into jail, Carmela got asked, hey, what was your husband doing? She has plausible deniability. I don't know. And she's telling the truth. She can't rat because she doesn't know where the cheese is, right? And there's a part of me that's like, I kind of bet that's what happened here, right? Like, Jim didn't say, hey, Connor Stalions, do me a favor. You go out there and put on some stupid disguises and go to rivals' games and try to steal signs. Why don't you turn some cameras onto the bench grow out a goatee, put on some dumbass glasses, and go film the boys. My bet is Jim sat in the back of the room, much like Tony Soprano himself, huh? He sat in the back of the room, and he said, fellas, winning games is a tough thing to do in 2023. It's very, very difficult to win football games. I'm not saying what I'd like to happen. I'm just saying it would be very nice if maybe somebody would devise a system, maybe a way they could go out there and find, some information about some of these teams that we're going to play this year. I think it would be very nice if somebody would come in and say, hey, coach, we know what they're going to do. I'm not saying that I want that to happen. I'm not saying that any of you should go out and do that thing. What I am saying is I think it would be nice if maybe we had some inside information. Huh? Like, that's kind of the vibe. But also, maybe it's not that at all. Maybe Jim genuinely had no idea. I can't accuse him of knowing when my man's taken to the podium and saying, I didn't do it. I didn't know what was going on. I had no connection to it. And now we're going to go attack this year.
Back to work and attacking with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
An attack with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
I think that's one of his taglines that he's used for a while. But when he says it, I don't detect any enthusiasm. Maybe right there you put some inflection in there.
Jim Harbaugh's kind of a dork, right?
Yeah, he is. The khakis alone. Who wears khakis? Why would anyone want someone to wear khakis? I like
khakis.
Yeah.
They're very comfortable.
Yeah. No, they're not.
They are. They're very comfortable, and they allow you to basically dress up anything without having to dress up. They're great.
You know what's comfortable? No pants.
Oh, our boy
khakis are not.
Our boy got rocked this time.
The man bun was a little tight. Possibly could have been part of it.
Got rocked that time. Woof. Come on, Hammer. You look like that, and your name is Hammer. Come on, Chisel. Get up there.
Maybe some.
Oh,
he slipped. He slipped.
Yes,
That's
he
what
did.
It was. Some facial hair would probably help him out a little bit. I'm just saying.
Hating ass Mario.
Especially with a name like Hammer.
Hating ass Mario blew it for America. Hey, let's get real quick item number 3. I don't like to talk about this because I know how much it stinks when your team stinks. I know how much it sucks when your team sucks. I know it's painful. But sometimes teams suck, like, historically.
No, I thought it generally sucked. I didn't think it was a specific suck. I thought it was like an all-encompassing type of suck.
Pete Fairbanks sounds a little like Charlie Sheen there, doesn't he?
Absolutely.
Yeah. The Chicago White Sox dropped a 5-1 decision to the Oakland Athletics yesterday. Not a story. What is the story is that it was their 21st consecutive loss. It is the longest losing streak since the 1988 Baltimore Orioles lost 21 in a row. The White Sox are now tied for the longest losing streak in AL history. They will play the A's again today. If they lose today, it will become the longest losing streak in American League history. The National League record since 1900, held by the 1961 Philadelphia Phillies, who lost 23 straight. So 2 more losses. They'll tie the longest losing streak in MLB's recent history. The longest ever dates back to the Colonels, an American Association team that lost 26 consecutive during a 27-111 season all the way back in 1889. I've been beaten up on the Angels and I've been beaten up on the Athletics and all these other teams. Maybe the White Sox need to catch this smoke as well. That is genuinely awful. I forgot I added a buzzer. 21 beep. Okay, I'm not going to do a 21 beep salute to the White Sox. Suffice to say, imagine being a White. Oh, you know what? I have some sound from Ozzie Guillen that I want to play for you because of this. My man Ozzie had a mental breakdown. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
QC.
All right, guys, be right back. Stay right there for me.
It's not really instant reaction, Cole. I mean, because the game didn't just happen. It was like the night before. New life in the next break.
New life in the next break.
They just showed a long shot of that to show how tall that is.
It's huge, dude. That's why I said, like, after I saw it from the ground, I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting up that. So the Chicago White Sox have now tied the American League record for most consecutive losses at 21. Now, if you followed the White Sox because you're a masochist or a sadist or whatever, you know that Ozzie Guillen, a wonderful player back in his time, was the manager for that team. And Ozzie Guillen wanted to come back and manage the White Sox again. Well, Ozzie Guillen, a 16-year vet for the White Sox back in the day, Ozzie Guillen now covers the White Sox in Chicago. He's on their local pre- and post-game show. And Ozzie Guillen had a meltdown. Now, this came after loss number 20, not 21. So I got to tell you, I'm as excited about seeing Ozzie Guillen's reaction last night after loss number 21 as I am watching Team USA basketball at 3:30. I view those things with equal excitement because after loss number 20, Ozzie had a meltdown.
You told me today, if they not lose those 14 games in a row, they're still,
if they
still on the 500.
Take out the not just that.
You can't
take out the 20-game losing streak and the 14-game losing streak. They still have the worst record in baseball.
Yeah. Wow.
The math is so bad. I thought they're 40 games under. No, they're 60 games under.
You look at it like the White Sox.
They lost 34 straight games. You combine 2 losing streaks.
That means Pedro is 100 games on the 500.
Yes,
and he got the job.
He's 100 games under.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, that's tough. So
I gotta go to college tomorrow. I gotta go to the doctor. No, I do. I had to bring my, because some few years ago I was happy, man. Now I'm bitter and weird.
You're bitter watching this team play.
No, just like because I don't think I was the bad manager when they picked Pedro in front of me. I gotta see a psychiatrist. Yeah. So I'm drinking a lot.
You are.
I have problems with my wife a lot. I scream to the only people who get along with me is my grandkids. Everybody else, I hate him. I don't know why.
Don't take it personally.
Maybe that's why. I swear to God. I'm not playing around. A lot of people there. I know. I thought like I was bitter myself. Like, my God, I'm this bad. Then I went to manage in Venezuela. Come and go, wow, man,
you won championship.
I'm not that loud. So my city's go. It's like, holy cow! I should be embarrassed myself more than anything.
Ozzie said, "I'm drinking a lot. No one in my family likes me except my grandkids." This poor dude, man. All he wanted to do was come back and coach the team that he loved. All he wanted to do is come back and coach the team that he played for. All he wanted to do was come back and help get the White Sox in the right direction. And they passed on him for a manager who is now 100 games below 500 career-wise as a manager and is now overseen a 21-game losing streak that could very well end up being 22 and end up being the AL all-time losing streak as early as this evening. I got to tell you, this team's so bad, I feel bad for Ozzie Guillen at this point. No, I do like Ozzie Guillen because, like, give me a dude on the mic that's got some damn personality, especially when they're covering a team pre- and post-game and not in the game. But my man Ozzie going, I am miserable. I'm drinking a lot. No one in my family likes me. Everybody around me is miserable because of how miserable I am right now. I feel for Ozzie because I feel for White Sox fans now.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's mostly sour grapes because he didn't get the job. He said that multiple times. Suddenly he gets the job next year after this guy's fired and does worse. You think he's in bad shape and no one likes him now?
I don't know how he could do worse. I honestly, I think I could do better. They're 27-88. They are 41 and a half games back in probably the most average division in baseball right now.
Why do you even count at that point? I mean,
they're 17-40 at home. They're 10-48 on the road. 41 and a half games back. They are on pace to have, Lonzo, the worst season in the history of Major League Baseball. I don't think this is so much about I didn't get the job as I didn't get the job and that guy did. Now, I don't know about you, great one. I know you've gotten every job you've ever asked for because you're the great one, but I will tell you.
No, I haven't.
I will tell you, I've applied for a lot of jobs in this industry over the years, and there's been a handful of times where you get that phone call. Hey, Mr. Brown, we want to thank you for your interest. We want to thank you for your work in trying to acquire this job, but we've decided to go in a different direction. And then you tune in to see, all right, well, if I didn't get it, the guy who did get it must be a megastar. And then you tune in, and the dude that got the job ahead of you, that guy, really? Like, it's not so much that I feel bad for Ozzie Guillen because he's a White Sox fan. I feel bad for Ozzie Guillen because he didn't get that job, and the dude who did has navigated this team to one of the worst seasons in the modern history of Major League Baseball. That's bad for your ego a little bit, I think. Now, I like to chalk it up as Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner of the team, wants to be bad, right? He like he wants to be, is intentionally bad. I don't know why. I do know he's in the hunt for a new stadium. I do know he's in the hunt to get the White Sox upgraded, but when will owners...
He does have experience with a winning team that he owns.
He does, but he also has experience in, I will make the argument, tearing that team the bleep down. Remember, when the Bulls went from the dynasty of the 1990s down to not that anymore, it was because of Jerry Reinsdorf. At least if you ask Chicago fans, it was because of the ownership, not in spite of it, right? So this is a dude who is notorious in Chi-Town for ruining good things. And he's just done it with this team. So, like, maybe, Ozzie, even though you love the team, maybe it's a good thing you didn't get the job. Even though watching this cat, Pedro Grifol, ruin this team, knowing that you are working for Jerry Reinsdorf. By the way, I talked to Mario about this last night because he's a Chicago guy, right? He's in D.C. now, but he grew up in Chicago, in and around Chicago. I asked him about it. He's like, dude, like, Jerry Reinsdorf can't go out in public in Chicago. He can't go out in public in Chicago because he gets blasted by the fans of the Bulls and the White Sox. But you know how bad you got to be to make me feel bad for an ancient former player / manager? Poor Ozzie, man. Later on in the show, probably in the next hour, I got another baseball clip for you. The Dodgers play-by-play team, the Dodgers were playing the A's a few days ago, and they went the hell in on the Oakland Athletics, and I love it. We'll talk about that. We'll get some NFL football in here. Brock Purdy was the debate topic last night. I'll bring it to you next on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, one more and we're back. Stay right there for me.
They have went the route of some Rolling Stones. I'm just saying.
I've asked this question before. I'll ask it one more time again. What is what's the spot that an NFL team is going to have to say no to paying a quarterback? Last night I got the opportunity to sit in on BetMGM tonight on the BetQL network. Last night I got the opportunity to talk a little NFL football with Nick Ashu, one of the hosts of that show, as I filled in for Ryan and Trista. Last night we talked some NFL football. One of the things we talked about was Brandon Ayuk. Brandon Ayuk has requested a trade from the San Francisco 49ers. The belief was that the 49ers will not trade Brandon Ayuk. However, we also found out last night that the San Francisco 49ers have at least 2 trade frameworks built out already. The Patriots and the Steelers are 2 of the teams that have reached out and inquired about Brandon Ayuk and have made a deal that the San Francisco 49ers are at least willing to listen to. Now, before we knew that, Nick Ashu and I were talking about whether or not this trade would happen. And my thought was, it won't happen. And the reason that it won't happen is because of Brock Purdy. Here's what I said. And I got some pushback on this when I said it on the BetMGM Tonight show last night. I think Brock Purdy's okay. I think he's okay. I think he's fine. Do I think there's anything special about Brock Purdy? Not really. I think Brock Purdy is a guy who got dropped into a wonderful situation. I think Brock Purdy is a guy who got dropped into a spot where he is surrounded by so much skill position talent that he can't help but be good. I think Brock Purdy is a guy who got dropped into a spot that if you put a number of other quarterbacks into that role, they'd be just as successful. I don't think that there's anything remarkable or over the top about Brock Purdy. I think he's an okay quarterback. I think he has got so much skill position talent around him that the guy can't help but be good. He can't help but be carried by skill position talent. But that kind of leads to a spot, in my opinion, where guys like Debo and Brandon Ayuk, you can't get rid of them, right? Because if you let Brandon Ayuk go, who the hell's going to carry Brock Purdy? And before we go down the path, let me remind you that Brock Purdy is in that group of QBs that we expected a contract extension for this year. And right now, there's 2 that haven't gotten one. Dak Prescott and Brock Purdy. Now, I could be wrong about this. Tua Tagovailoa has gotten his. Lamar got his. Joey B got his. Like pretty much everybody else has got theirs, with the exception of Dak and Brock Purdy. Is there a reason for that? I have one. Those teams don't trust those guys to be the guy.
I mean, I think you're right. Definitely in Dallas. But with San Francisco, even though, I mean, you're saying you can plug anybody in there, I don't entirely agree with that. I think Brock Purdy is one of those guys that just works with all that talent around him. You put another quarterback, because they had Sam Darnold, and they let him go, right? I mean, if you could plug anybody in and you don't want to give an extension, you keep Sam Darnold, you put him in there. But they did not do that. And they've got a bunch of guys in there right now at backup that have been around the league pretty much. I I think he just fits right with that team. And I think that happens throughout sports. Someone may not be really good anywhere else, but with that team, he fits.
So here's the question that I asked, because I think if you're going to call a dude a quarterback worthy of an extension to the degree that Brock Purdy, I don't know if he wants it. And again, I would say this, if he's willing to take a Patrick Mahomes-esque discount, sure. Because the list of quarterbacks better than Brock Purdy isn't a super long one, but here's the question I would ask. Great one. If I took Brock Purdy and I dropped him in Kansas City instead of Patrick Mahomes last year, are the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl last year? Because the answer to me is no.
I doubt it, but I think they still are a winning team.
I mean, I think they're okay. I agree. I would say they're a winning team. Are they the Chiefs? The answer to me is obviously no.
Is Brock Purdy better than Alex Smith?
Is Brock Purdy better than Alex Smith? I mean, he is now.
Because they were winning with Alex Smith before they let him go and went with Patrick Mahomes.
I would be willing to say that Brock Purdy is a guy that I think is good enough if you surround him with a great team. But there is a big difference, in my ever so humble yet frequently correct opinion. There is a massive difference between good enough if you surround him with Debo and CMC and Ayuk, et cetera, et cetera. There's a massive difference between that and clearly deserving of a contract extension to the degree of Tua Tagovailoa's. And for the record, I think you overpaid for Tua Tagovailoa if you're the Miami Dolphins, right? One of the guys with me at the bachelor party this weekend, our buddy Andrew, big Dolphins guy. I kept saying that to him. I'm like, yeah, dude, you guys, like, you overpaid for this cat, right? And he's like, yeah, I don't not know that, right? Brock Purdy has not gotten paid. Neither has Dak Prescott. I don't think the 49ers nor the Cowboys actually believe that those guys are the guy that you can trust to be the guy if it comes down to quarterback v. quarterback in the postseason, which is why I did not think they would get rid of Ayuk, because Brock Purdy's on that list of guys that I go, I gotta surround him with the best available talent. And if we give him a Tua Tagovailoa or Joe Burrow or Lamar Jackson size extension, I can't pay Debo and Ayuk and CMC and all these other cats that drag Brock Purdy, not the other way around. I want my quarterback to make my skill position talent better. You can hate on him all you want. But how many Wes Welkers did Tom Brady take from average slot receiver to Pro Bowler? Right? That left, went elsewhere, and were never the same guy. How many guys does Patrick Mahomes make look like stinking geniuses because that's who the hell Mahomes is?
Yeah, but you're saying that San Francisco's situation is the reverse of that, that you can plug any quarterback in there, and they can do that because of all the talent that's everywhere else.
Oh, for sure. That's what I'm saying. For sure, that's what I'm saying. If next year, if last year, if I took Mahomes and Purdy and I flipped them, San Francisco wins the Super Bowl last year. Not a statement, not a question, statement. Okay? Now,
I agree with you.
If I took, and this is the argument I've made, and this is one that Lonzo has disagreed with me on, but I'll make it anyway because I believe it. If I took Brock Purdy and traded spots between him and Bryce Young, I think your results in San Francisco last year are relatively similar. You might give a couple of games back because he's a rookie. You might pick up a couple of games in Carolina because he's a vet. But I don't think Carolina goes from 2-15 to 15-2. I don't think they go from 2-15 to hell, even like 10-7. I think Brock Purdy in Carolina last year, that team's probably like 5-12. And I think if I took Bryce Young and I dropped him into San Francisco last year, I think they still win that division. I still think they're an NFC favorite to make it to the NFC title game, to make it to the Super Bowl, to be honest, because of the amount of skill position talent there. So my question mark here is, how long or how much will it take for a team at some point to look at a guy like Brock Purdy, because Brock's up next. Brock and Dak. What does it take for a 49er team to look at Brock Purdy and to go, dude, we are not making you the highest paid quarterback in the National Football League. We're not doing it. Because you're not the best quarterback in the National Football League. So of course we're not going to pay you that way. Right? Like Brock Purdy's been to a Super Bowl. So's Joe Burrow. Right now, Lonzo, I'm giving you one guy to magically replace Patrick Mahomes with next year. You want Joey B or you want Brock Purdy?
I mean, that's not really a question.
Correct.
Of course, Joe Burrow.
So does that mean that Brock Purdy should get more money than Joe Burrow? Of course not, right? And at some point, a team's going to have to say no. And I really think I thought it would be San Francisco. I really thought the 49ers would be the team that looks at Brock Purdy and goes, no, dog, like we'll give you an extension. We'll get you to like 47, 48 million a year, but I can't give you Joey B's 55. I can't give you Lamar's 53. I can't give you Tua's 55. I can't do that because you're not better than them. But if they are going to trade Brandon Ayuk away, and like we said, apparently there is some framework for trades out there right now. If there is a framework for a trade about Brandon Ayuk out there right now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe San Francisco is going to pay Brock Purdy Joey B money. And I think that's crazy. This is why I told Nick and Zoe and we've had this discussion. This concept that the NFL is floating right now of a quarterback-only salary cap, it makes me sick. I hate it. I despise it. I know it's a quarterback league. I know you've got to have an excellent quarterback, or at least a very good quarterback to give yourself a chance. But the concept of having a quarterback-only salary cap makes me sick. No. Teams should have to manage their finances across every position on the roster, including the quarterback, which to me, at some point, somebody's going to have to say no. I really did think it was San Francisco, but if they do indeed trade Brandon Ayuk, instead of saying, suck it up, play one more year, and earn that contract, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe that's not what's going to happen. We'll find out. Brandon Ayuk right now, odds on traded to the Patriots or the Steelers. By the way, I love Ayuk to the Steelers.
I thought it was the Browns.
Is it the Browns that jumped out? I know it was those three teams last night, but I know towards the end of the night, one of them stopped being mentioned. So it was the Browns, not the Steelers. That's fair. Let's see. In fact, I'll go look up the trade odds right now because I'm very curious about it. Well, that site doesn't have them. All right. I know the Patriots last night, the Patriots, Browns, and Steelers were the three teams that were mentioned. But I do love them for the Steelers. I like them for the Browns. I'll say this. Lulls at the 49ers sending him to one of two bad teams. That's fantastic. Enjoy it. Enjoy Foxborough, bud.
He has a no trade clause, so he can veto it if he doesn't want to go to either one of those places.
I mean, that's fair. And maybe that's what San Francisco wants, right? He goes, nah, I'd rather stay here. Cool, man. Like, we'd rather have you.
By the way, wouldn't you rather stay in San Francisco? I mean, as far as talent-wise goes, you definitely don't want to go to New England.
Oh, for sure.
And Cleveland's better than New England, but it's not San Francisco.
No, it's not San Francisco. All right, we'll see. Is this the shot that causes an NFL team to finally say no to a fat contract extension for a quarterback? I don't know. You know who deserves a fat contract extension? Lonzo, because of the sports flash.
No comment. A season of record contract extensions continued as the Kansas City Chiefs, made Harrison Butker the richest kicker in the NFL. Butker's new deal is reportedly for 4 years and $25.6 million with $17.75 million guaranteed. Butker currently holds the second highest career goal percentage of all time, just behind the Ravens' Justin Tucker. Simone Biles' 2024 Olympic Games came to an end with one last medal yesterday, a silver in floor exercise finals. The silver was her 11th Olympic medal overall and her 4th in the Paris Games. Biles' career medal count ties her with Czechoslovakia's Vera Kozlovska for second
Nailed it.
most by a female gymnast. Of course, I nailed it. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show. Cole Bryson and Diesel, Wire to Wire, get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news, all Wire to Wire. Broke me, man. What are you doing?
Pain from arthritis is just awful. Bone on bone, constant pain. It robs you of so much of the stuff that you love to do, but there are effective ways to deal with that pain. And I'm not talking about drugs or surgery. Hey, it's Charlie James. Listen, there are exciting new cellular therapies that can get you lasting relief. And the place to go is QC Connect. QC Connect uses cutting-edge treatments that accelerate your own body's healing properties, revitalizing your joints so you can move it. If you're living with chronic pain from arthritis or injury, you need to know that steroids and surgery and pain pills are no longer your only option. Learn how QC Kinetics can use advanced regenerative medicine to treat the pain, enhance your joints, restore your mobility, and give you long-term relief with no downtime. The local medical professionals
And Ozzie Guillet.
with regenerative restorative cellular treatments for your achy joints. Get a free consultation. Give them a call at 864-448-3772. That's 864-448-3772 in Greenville and in Nashville. 864-448-3772. Hey, this is Diesel and Cole Bryson with Wire to Wire. Tomorrow, we'll be live at Ingles Markets, 1500 Deer Highway in Travelers Rest, from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. We'll have prizes, games, and your chance at a $25 Ingles gift card.
Spring is here, and the best upstate deal on golf is on sale now. The 2024 Upstate Golf Card gets you a round of golf at 7 premier upstate courses, and it's only $80. Or at the Upstate Golf
I'm not saying I'm dying, but
We're all dying.
that's true. So tell Chief to fix this TV.
See, you're doing it in a public forum. I would never do that.
The new John Deere Gator XUV lets you cut, pack, drive, stack, weld, stack, feed, pull, load, tow, spray, and haul, all in a single day. Because with the highest cargo box volume in its class, customizable features, and a towing capacity of up to 4,000 pounds, it gets the job done.
Good morning, James.
What's up, buddy?
Learn more at your John Deere dealer or visit johndeere.com/GatorXUV.
No, Rob just needs to say no every once in a while. That's what he needs. Just say no, Rob. Just say no. No, I will not do more work. No, I will not do more work.
This dude is the best. Can you please get fired?
Played the Joe Hendry theme when I picked the granddaughter up yesterday, and we rocked the whole way home.
I believe in Joe Hendry. I mean, Jelly Roll needed to lift up off the mat after the 5-knuckle shuffle.
He did. The slam was nice though.
Of the non-match celebrity cameos, he is pretty good. He's pretty good.
His first chair shot, not so good. The second one though, I think he got his rhythm.
Choke slam was and credit to Austin Theory for selling that thing like he got shot.
Yeah.
Rolling in to the third hour of the Rob Brown Radio Show. It is the fan upset. Did I mention, and I could be wrong about this, Lonzo, I'll need you to fact check me here, if you don't mind. We are the three-time South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year. Is that accurate?
That's very accurate. I was at a ceremony where they said that. So,
I thought so.
Yeah.
I thought I had heard that somewhere.
I had to walk across the stage while everybody, all the bigwigs in media in South Carolina were staring at me. Yes.
I feel like you nailed it, though. I mean, I wasn't there to see it, but I'm sure you nailed it.
I did. You know, it helps when you know someone on the stage. Usually I have someone with me that I know going with me on the stage, but I was alone, and it was, but I was willing to do that for us, willing to deal with the stares and the possible stumbles, which almost happened, by the way.
You almost bought the farm
on the first one. Yeah. Cause there's some wire. There was some thick wire. It was almost like an ACC situation across the bottom of the step when I came off. And so there's a little bit of a stumble, and I haven't worn real shoes in a while, and that may have factored in, but you know,
hippie.
Yeah. So
you hippie. Yeah, man. I feel like we kind of nailed it, frankly. Three-time South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year, the Rob Brown Show, right here on the Fan Upstate. I'm gonna go back to baseball here for just a second, and I got a bit of a long clip here. It's about 2 minutes, but it is a phenomenal clip. The LA Dodgers a couple of days ago. The LA Dodgers were playing the Oakland Athletics, the soon to not be Oakland Athletics, the soon to be Southern California Athletics.
Is that team ever moving?
Yeah, next year they're playing in a minor league baseball stadium in, I think, like Pasadena or something. They're going to spend a year at a minor league. I want you to think, and I say this respectfully because, y'all, we have one of the best minor league baseball stadiums in America, but I want you to think about a whole ass MLB team playing at Fluor Field, right? Like for a whole season. And then they're moving to Las Vegas in Nevada if they can get the stadium rights taken care of, which they're still working on. So no guarantee, but like probably. The problem isn't that they are moving. The problem is that they are moving and screwing over a lot of people in the process. Well, they played the Dodgers the other day at home at LA. The Dodgers came into town, and the Dodgers broadcast announcers, Joe Davis, Kristen Watson, and Nomad Garciaparra, decided, you know what seems like a good idea? Let's just shred the Oakland Athletics on our broadcast.
Well, it's hard to believe this is happening, but you understand that this does happen, right? Relocations are a part of the business of sports. It's the third move for the A's when they go to Sacramento. A fourth will be the one to Vegas if that actually happens. The Dodgers franchise knows relocations happen, but the way this one has happened is shameful. It should be anyway, because the people running it are apparently shameless. They are experiencing no embarrassment in any facet. All right, you slash payroll 50%, boost season tickets prices 30%, and you wonder why people aren't showing up. No, they don't wonder. It was seemingly intentional, insidious, in fact. You tell fans, oh, if you think you had a bad week, I've had it worse. Really? What about the hundreds of families, the thousands of people will be impacted by the work that will be lost from this move? Using the wrong logo for promotional video. Every step of the way, this thing has been fumbled. And how this has happened is hard to comprehend. And the thing that really sits with me, Jess, is you brought up Dontrelle Willis, right? And his family history here. His mother worked here at the Coliseum. I talked to D-Train on the eve of this series about how he felt And he's going to make a trip up here before the season's over so he can say goodbye to the Coliseum. But D-Train really cut through. He said, if it wasn't for the A's saving my life, I honestly don't know where my life would be. Why he wore 35, Vida Blue. You think of Vida Blue, Smoke Stewart, and all the greats that we talked about earlier. They inspired the Dontrelle Willises, the CC Sabathias, the Marcus Simeons, the Willie Calhouns. On and on the list goes. Just it's tough to watch from afar. You hurt for the community here in Oakland.
That is 2 minutes of the LA Dodger broadcast team just absolutely taking up on the A's ownership, and I am here for it, dude.
I'm very disappointed he didn't do his job the entire time he was doing that, though. There were pitches thrown, and he didn't mention he's there to do play-by-play. I get what you said, but that part bothered me.
That's a TV broadcast, by the way. That's not radio. Like, if that's radio, I totally agree with you, but that's on the TV call.
Okay.
I got a little less difficulty with it being on TV at that point.
Because we've heard other guys, in the middle of doing what they're doing, also call the game.
Like when Tom Brenneman got fired live on the air and Nick Castellanos went yard in what is one of the greatest radio calls of all time. And I don't know if I'll ever put this headset on again. There's a deep fly to Castellanos that's going to make it a 3-2 ball game. Just sugar sweet, man. I get it. I don't disagree with you. If that is a radio call, I don't disagree. Fundamental issue. That's TV call. It's fine. It's fine. And on top of that, John Fisher, the owner of the Oakland Athletics, I think he is getting off the hook a little bit, to keep it a buck. I think he is getting off the hook a little bit. I think he has been allowed to create this situation where he is not taking the heat that he probably should be taking. He's not taking the amount of criticism that he should be taking for what he is doing right now. And so to have this spot where you have a bad guy broadcast crew coming into your house, have a bad guy broadcast crew coming into the Coliseum, and not just talking, but like for minutes rolling up on you as a fan, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, does it change anything? No, not really. At the end of the day, billionaire gonna billionaire. He didn't give a damn about you or me or these broadcasters or anybody else. John Fisher has one objective in his life. That one objective is to make the Oakland Athletics as valuable as he can, to make the Oakland Athletics as valuable as he can so that he can sell that team once he gets it to Las Vegas for as much money as he can. So I appreciate them bringing up the thousands of people who are going to lose their jobs when this team moves. I appreciate them bringing up the number of MLB players who said, I wouldn't be who I am without this team. I wouldn't be in the spot that I am in without this team. I appreciate them bringing up all of those things. But at the end of the day, it sucks. None of it matters. It just doesn't matter. I applaud the Dodgers broadcast crew for bringing that fire. My man called it, Lonzo, insidious. That's a good word.
It is. It's a very good word. And from everything you've said, it's very fitting.
It's the best word. It's the best word. It's a great word. All right. It's insidious. It is. This is a dude who is actively and openly hurting people who have been a fan of this team for generations, man, for decades now. I have no doubt there are dudes that are going to A's games whose dad took them to A's games and whose dad's dad took them to A's games. And hell, maybe for some of the young ones, whose dad's dad's dad took them to A's games. they're going to go play in a minor league stadium in Pasadena next year. A minor league stadium, maybe 7,000 seat stadium next year. A stadium that the majority of its seating is a big hill out in the outfield. Now, as a minor league baseball enthusiast, as I am, I like a good hill to go sit on and watch summertime baseball, right? Nothing better than going out and be able to drink a cold brewski, sitting on a hill out in right field and watch the boys bat it around a little bit. But not for a major league team, dude. It's just gross. And like I said, I'm sitting here like, dude, shut the hell up. Like, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter. Nothing's going to happen. John Fisher's going to make this team as valuable as he can make it. John Fisher is going to make the overall value of this team as high as he can make it so he can spend 1 year crapping on this team again in a minor league stadium and then move it to Vegas. And when it moves to Vegas and the value of this team triples, he's just going to immediately sell it. Now, does he have a right to do that? Yes. Yes, he does. He has a right to do it. It's his team. All right? It's his team. But man, it feels gross. It feels gross that not just is he going to get away with it. He's going to get away with it and he's going to like triple his net worth. He's already a billionaire and he's going to like triple his net worth when he sells this team. And so generations of A's fans in Oakland are going to watch their team play in a minor league stadium. And then generations of A's fans are going to watch their team rebrand to the Las Vegas, whatever they're going to be. And screw you guys, right? Screw you guys. Does it matter? No, not really. Does he have the right to do it? Absolutely he does. Does it make me sick to my stomach? Yes. So while it changes nothing, and while it fixes nothing, and while all those things are still absolutely going to happen, I do want to give credit to the LA Dodger broadcast team for showing up in Oakland and just absolutely ripping them a new one on a broadcast.
Yeah, you know what? I get it, but to me, and I hate how this sounds, and I know they're going through it, this just seems like such old news because it's so ongoing. And you keep waiting for the thing to be done and then be wherever to be in Vegas where their destination is supposed to be. Do you remember another move like this taking so long and hitting all these hurdles?
I mean, if I go back and think about it and like maybe I could, but not really. Not really. I mean, it's pretty nasty. It's pretty gnarly. And it's like you said, I think that when it comes down to it, the fact that they are dragging this out for so long, the fact that, and again, you gotta get the rights to the stadium in Vegas. You got to make sure everything is good for the minor league stadium that you're going to be playing in California. You got to make sure that everything is good with the city, right? Because you were talking about probably having to make sure that parking is good around that stadium, because you gotta assume, you gotta hope that there's gonna be, there are still gonna be fans coming. But I don't know what to say about it. Like I said, it almost feels like a complete and total waste of time, because John Fisher very clearly and obviously doesn't give a damn that people are upset, and he doesn't have any shame that you can play on. The point of this whole TV broadcast that these guys just did that I played for you is to what? It's to shame John Fisher. But this is one of the problems with the influencer era. This country has lost the ability to feel shame. I have said a lot of times, I'm down for bringing back shaming people. I think more people should be shamed based on their behavior. More people should absolutely get openly and publicly mocked for their beliefs and their actions. The problem is we don't feel shame anymore. And because of that, John Fisher was probably watching this broadcast with his feet propped up in his gold-plated slippers in his big old cushy robe that's like made out of the fur of an endangered polar bear species. And he's smoking his pipe filled with tobacco that smells like money. And he's going, I'm very rich, and I'm about to get much richer. He's the bad guy from Major League. You can't shame these people. So it sucks. It hurts everybody. It hurts A's fans. I think it hurts baseball fans because basically what has just happened is that every Major League Baseball owner has now been showed, just do whatever you want. Just do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. Don't give a damn about the fans. Who cares? And I'm part of the problems, though, because I've said before, when they moved to Vegas, the first time the Atlanta Braves played a 3-game series on the road out in Las Vegas, Nevada, I'm putting the fiance in an airplane, and we're going out to Vegas for the weekend. I'm part of the problem.
Well, she won't be the fiance at that point.
That's true. I'm putting the wife onto an airplane, and we're going out to Vegas for the weekend. I'm part of the problem. But I'm part of the problem because I've come to the realization it doesn't matter, right? I could come in here every day and go, yo, the A's, John Fisher, the ownership group, all of them. Double birds to all of them. And it doesn't matter. They're still going to get their way. They're still going to move the team. So I might as well enjoy it for what it is. Shame doesn't work for billionaire owners. Shame changes nothing. That's why the Dallas Cowboys keep doing the same thing over and over and over, because you can't shame Jerry Jones. That's why the Cleveland Browns keep doing the same thing over and over and over, because you can't shame the Haslams. That's why all these teams do the same thing over and over. That's why teams have narratives built about them and their ownership, because you can't shame them into changing anything. And it's kind of a shame. Oh, shame. See what I did there? Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
So I finally get to see wrestling, and it's Greco-Roman. Hate Greco-Roman.
What's the difference?
Look it up, because I can't. I can tell you what I just looked up the rules. I did a couple of summer tournaments in Greco-Roman, and I lost every single because I couldn't.
So the difference is you weren't good at Greco-Roman.
Oh no, I couldn't grasp the rules. It's mostly on your feet, and that's probably part.
What's the other one? Freestyle.
Freestyle is the better.
Greco-Roman and freestyle wrestling are both Olympic wrestling styles that have similar rules but differ in the grappling holds that are allowed. In freestyle, wrestlers can attack any part of their opponent's body, including their legs, and use their arms and legs to execute holds. Freestyle wrestling also often involves a lot of arm control and space coverage. In Greco-Roman, wrestlers can only hold their opponents above the waist, and it's illegal to attack below the waist or use their legs to trip, lift, or execute other holds. Greco-Roman wrestling is more of an upper body game that involves a lot of head control. Touching your opponent's legs in Greco-Roman results in a penalty or foul.
All right, so the guys' match was Greco-Roman. I don't think this is actually. I think this because they spend a lot of time on the mat. And like in college for freestyle, they also have riding time. So if you're on top, you get it for a certain amount of time, you get points out of it.
I mean, like, I know the answer is yes, but this has got to be bleeping exhausting.
For sure. I mean, it's you wouldn't think just a couple minutes would be that for each round, but yeah. There you go, girl.
Presented by Boyce Jenkins.
Here's the Carolinas' most trusted forecast on the Fan Upstate. These spotty showers and thunderstorms possible late today. Partial sunshine develops a high of 86. Tonight, some chance for rain early.
Hey Shane, I see you there, but there's wrestling on the Olympics, so I mean, you know. Now, I don't know why. I don't think I've ever got to see women's Olympic wrestling. really no difference. It's just women and not men. And but watching something like this, you're watching the possibly someone who you'll see in UFC later on, because that's the next level from wrestling now, is going to MMA. And my favorite UFC fighters and MMA fighters are wrestlers first. Oh, there you go.
Supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support. His game never misses a beat. Call Grainger.com or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You know, it's so funny you guys say that. It's not warm. It's not. It doesn't get warm. Rob, fill the bottom of that. Is that warm?
No, it's actually not.
And it's been out for an hour. It just doesn't.
Lonzo also takes it straight out of a cooler.
I do. I mean, it's not frozen, but it's pretty. It's not like yeah.
It's cold enough.
Yeah. It's not like I buy it off the shelf and start drinking it. I don't do that. I would if I didn't have anything else to drink, but. You guys are just so picky. Oh, do not let that happen. Down with communism. Down with communism. Oh no, mermaid holding a football. Is that really embarrassing as far as tattoos go?
As far as tattoo goes.
Listen to Upper Hand Fantasy on the free Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast.
Today, expect cloudy skies with a chance of showers and thunderstorms.
Come on, flatten her out. Go away, ref. Keep spinning. There you go. Yes.
So if he holds the hand up, it's the color on the wristband gets a point.
Yeah.
Okay.
In this case, it was 2 points because she reversed. But this is freestyle. It's not Greco-Roman. The guys' match before was, unfortunately, Greco. Yeah, New Life in the next break.
Okay.
This girl right here could be your strawweight champion in the UFC in 2 years. Who knows? I didn't see that, James. I'll have to check that out. I did see the one with
Drew's Twitter is fire. So we've got Olympic wrestling on TV right now. It is women's freestyle, which was added to the games in 2004 in Athens. Zoe, could I ask you to, and you are the expert in the Big Ten sports, as I am affectionately calling them: discus, lariat, javelin, wrestling. These are the Big Ten sports of the Olympics. Could you give like a wrestling for dummies breakdown of like a crash course, if you're going to tune into freestyle wrestling today, of what you need to know to be able to follow along? Because I'm not a wrestling guy. I'm a wrestling guy when it comes to like sequined robes and you know, the squared circle. I've never been able to get into freestyle or Greco-Roman wrestling. Can you give the people like a quick crash course on what they need to know to watch this sport?
Well, the main thing, and there are some Olympic rules that are different, and riding time, I don't know if it's in the Olympics or just in college. So I'll leave that go for now. If you take the opponent down, you get 2 points. if the opponent is behind you and you reverse the hold and get behind them, that's 2 points. If the opponent is in front of you or on top of you and you escape, so you don't reverse it, but you get loose.
Okay.
So that's 1 point.
And so
a pin obviously is a win.
And it's not a pin like in pro wrestling where it's 1, 2, 3. It's like if you get both shoulders to the mat, that counts as a pin, correct?
Yes. And you're gonna love this. That it could be subjective depending on the referee about how long the shoulder blades have to be down.
Some subjective referees.
Yeah, because there are times when you think, you'll see someone's shoulder blade touch for like a millisecond and then boom, they hit it. And then there are other times it's like, yeah, it's hovering right there. They need to impress the mat. In other words, leave a dent in the mat. But that's the basic stuff.
So I went and looked up the rules. And here's what the Olympics website has to say about them. They say in modern day wrestling, particularly big events like the Olympics and the World Championships, victory by pinfall is a rarity. However, there are several ways to win a bout. The most common is victory by points. Wrestlers can try and score points by executing legal holds, throws, takedowns, maneuvering the opponent to expose his back to the mat for several seconds, or by executing reversals, which involve negating an opponent's position of advantage from a defensive position and gaining control of the situation. How often do you see a dude throw another dude? Is that like somewhat common?
In the upper weights, yes. I mean, that's one of the major things. And you can accumulate a lot of back points. I noticed earlier on the Greco-Roman match, they had techs. So when I say techs, I don't mean like, I just think you would
like BRB, LOL.
Yeah, no, I meant tech as in a technical fall, which means it's basically mercy rule. If you get so many points ahead of the other guy,
that guy's done.
Yeah.
So
by the way, rather be pinned any day than be teched, because that means they're playing with you.
Yeah, you're getting your ass kicked is what's happening. Moves carry points in accordance to their degree of difficulty in the Olympics, and a single move can carry anywhere between 1 to 5 points. High-scoring moves, generally arching throws, so like a German suplex. Is that a thing that happens in amateur wrestling? Can, but rare.
So like a pancake. So if you're facing your opponent,
yep,
and you have 2 underhooks, you arch back and turn in the air.
Okay.
That would be a throw move.
Okay. High scoring moves, generally arching throws, carry the maximum number of points. Wrestlers can also gain points if his opponent causes infractions, like executing illegal holds, trying to flee a hold rather than to defend it, being too negative or passive, and so on.
I think you're still looking at Greco though.
No, these are under the freestyle category.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is under the freestyle category. Gain points if the opponent causes infractions like executing illegal holds, trying to flee a hold rather than defend it, being too negative or passive, and so on. These often result in cautions. Accumulating 3 cautions during a bout automatically results in the guilty wrestler being disqualified at the end of a 6-minute period. The total scores are tallied, and the wrestler with more points wins. In case of a tie, the wrestler who has scored the maximum number of points from a single move is declared the winner. If wrestlers are level in that aspect as well, the least number of cautions and final points scored are taken in order as the tie-breaking factors. In the event of a freestyle wrestler building up a 10-point advantage over his opponent at any stage in the match, the bout is declared over and the leader is declared the winner by technical superiority.
Yeah, see, they have to throw the superiority in there. But again, you're getting your butt whipped. There have been times, my son was on the leaderboard in the entire United States as far as victories goes his senior year. He was pretty good. And he has told me he felt the same way because early on he got teched a couple of times, and so did I. They had just started the tech thing when I was in high school. It's so embarrassing. It is. Because this guy could pin you, this guy could beat you, but he's just playing with you. He's basically practicing, and your skill level is not good enough to stop it.
So it's mercy rule, basically.
It is mercy rule. We just saw a tech a little bit earlier in Greco-Roman, and it's pretty embarrassing.
The according to the Olympics, and this may be different from competition to competition, but According to the Olympics, the primary difference between Greco-Roman wrestling and freestyle wrestling is that in Greco-Roman wrestling, holding the opponent below the waist or using the legs for any defensive or offensive purpose is strictly prohibited. In freestyle wrestling, however, no such restrictions apply. Inspired from Catch as Catch Can Wrestling, a combination of multiple wrestling styles and combat sport popular in English carnivals during the late 1800s, freestyle wrestling allows a lot more freedom as it allows attacking the opponent's hips, legs, and feet. As a result, freestyle bouts generally start with wrestlers taking a very low stance in order to defend the legs. Also, unlike Greco-Roman wrestling, where wrestlers need to stay in contact with the opponent through the course of a throw, freestyle wrestlers are allowed to let go and reestablish contact afterwards to complete a move. These facets allow for a much larger variety of techniques to be utilized, making freestyle wrestling a much more fluid style than perhaps a more rigid Greco-Roman variant. Smooth transitions to string together moves become imperative in freestyle wrestling, with rhythm playing a big part, end quote. Modern day wrestling freestyle rules are devised to reward active wrestlers and penalizing passive wrestlers attempting to employ negative or passive tactics like being overly defensive. In freestyle wrestling, the first instance of passivity,
You did it.
nailed it.
You did it. Good
From
job.
a wrestler earns them a verbal warning from the ref. If they continue to be inactive, a 30-second mandatory scoring window is issued. If either wrestler manages to score within this window, no penalty point is awarded. However, if neither can score within that 30-second window, the opponent of the designated passive wrestler is awarded a technical point. However, in the case the referee deems a wrestler to be passive with less than 30 seconds remaining on the clock for either period, they immediately receive a caution, and the active wrestler is automatically awarded a point.
Wow. The passivity or whatever that is. That I've never heard of that part before.
Here is what I will say. The best thing about wrestling on TV right now is that it's not anymore, and Serbia's playing Australia in basketball. That's the best thing about wrestling on TV right now.
So you would prefer to watch a couple
Serbia and Australia play basketball, yes.
as opposed to watching some Americans wrestle.
I'd rather watch Nikola Jokic play basketball than watch wrestling
Okay,
every day of the week.
I would rather watch Americans play a sport because I'm an American, but apparently you're a communist. So I mean,
Yes, the well-known communist country of Australia. Big commies down there in Australia.
They used to be a penal colony. I know that. So I mean, obviously thieves and robbers and things. Yes.
Rather party with a bunch of Australians. They're dudes, bro.
How would you know? Have you ever partied with a bunch of Australians?
Yes, I have. In Las Vegas, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
They taught me how to gamble on cricket. I still don't understand a damn thing about it, but they taught me how to watch cricket.
Did you win money on cricket?
I didn't win money. They won money, and I just tailed their bets. So I mean, yes, but they won it for me.
But so technically, you won money. You didn't know what you were doing.
I had no idea what I was doing. I watched them make bets. I made the same bets. I made money. Yes. The Aussies were dudes, dude. They were dudes. Loved them. Anyway, yes, I would rather watch Serbia and the Aussies play shooty hoops than watch wrestling. I get it. It takes stamina and toughness.
I wish Dan Severn was in this room right now. He would headbutt you till you submitted.
Again, I'm not saying people who are amateur wrestlers aren't complete and total badasses. They obviously are. There is no chance in hell I would survive 13 seconds of a wrestling match. That doesn't make it interesting to me.
Does his head look unusually large on
It
the
does.
top? That's a big...
My dude's got a noggin on him.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's like the leader from DC, isn't he? I mean, you paint that dude green, he's a supervillain.
Joey texted the show, said, I'm in some sort of paradox, went to bed with Rob Brown in my ear, and now woke up with Rob Brown in my ear. Why?
Well, some people would pay for that sort of thing.
$9.99 a month. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate.
New life.
All right, guys, one more and we're back. Stay right there for me, please, and thank you.
dessert bar or a fruit bar.
That's a couple of good comments back to back, Mark and Shane. Well played.
Maybe we were talking about motorcycles.
I need to get mine working again.
It's almost rotten weather. Coming up,
Yes,
what,
it is.
October maybe?
Yes, it is.
Although with the heat we've had this year, maybe it'd be like November before it starts cooling down. So I don't have a problem with it. That means I can continue to not wear pants or shoes.
Yes, it is a great hat. Thank you, Shane. As somebody who grew up on the beaches in the 850, my current favorite hat. No shortage of selection there. The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. Rob and the great one, Lonzo, with you. We talked some college ball earlier in the radio program. Let's talk some NFL football here for just a few minutes. We are 2 days away from preseason game numero uno of the Carolina Panthers. They are set to start Thursday night against Gerard Mayo and the New England Patriots.
Against who?
Gerard Dukes Mayo.
Is he a new guy or is he a guy that's been in the league for 7 years?
For a very long time, just not as a coach. Just not as a coach. I got a couple of bits of sound.
Still not. Well, okay.
Couple of bits of sound I want to give you here.
So he's not the quarterback.
No, he's the head coach.
Oh, okay. Who's the quarterback?
That's a great question. Is it going to be Drake May? And I do want to talk about that coming up in a while. Because there's like 2 active quarterback battles left, and that's one. And I do want to talk about the concept of starting a rookie quarterback too early. Because I think a lot of teams are learning, or at least they should be over the past couple of years, that if you throw a rookie quarterback into the fire, especially when you throw him onto the fire for a real bad team, you can do more harm than good, right? This is why I've said, much to the chagrin of the great one, and he's already hanging his head and shaking it because he knows what I'm going to say, this is Bryce Young's rookie year for me. This is his rookie year as far as I'm concerned. So here's some sound that we got. Let's start with this. Bryce Young was talking to America's sweetheart, Kay Adams, on the Up and Adams show. I love it. How do you not love Kay Adams?
Well, back before she decided to go all the weird makeup stuff back when she was natural, she was very pretty and funny and everything. But as she got more into the business, I think the business has changed her. Whatever. I like natural and you like manufactured. I mean, it's all, beauty is in the eye.
Tiffy time.
Yeah. Talk about completely manufactured, probably.
So Bryce Young was talking with America's sweetheart, Kay Adams, and was asked about what his role within this offense is this year.
I give my all. I'm doing everything I can. I'm always working, and again, just every Sunday for me to give it everything I have.
Including off-schedule throws, which I keep seeing out here. What's that about? Are you
Yeah.
enjoying that?
Yeah, that's
You let it rip a little bit.
Yeah, that's part of who I am and part of who this system
Yes.
encourages. I want to pride myself in making sure that I can carry out the system. And in times it's football. As a quarterback, you gotta move. You gotta make sure that whatever it may be, there's always gonna be movements and variables. But I want to make sure that I'm as true to my reads to the system as possible. And some of those come with some off-platform throws, and they're all within the scheme of the system. And I'm grateful for the stuff that we do.
Sounds like coach is letting you be who you are.
Yeah, and
Love
I
it.
really appreciate it.
What do you think's in a sippy cup? Milk or juice?
USOB, dude. Oh man, rude. Absolutely rude.
I'm gonna go with juice. It's better in the summer.
We were at camp on Thursday, and the quarterback room came out of the locker room, and I was like, here come the quarterbacks, Diesel. And he said, who's that kid running with Andy Dalton? and I wanted to fist fight him on the spot. He knows what he did. Just like you know what you did, right? Infuriating.
Yeah, that's the opinion of quite a few people.
Anyway, there was some stuff that came out of practice yesterday. One of those things was that Bryce Young and Deontay Johnson kind of started looking like they were developing a little bit of chemistry. BY threw a couple of darts to DJ on the outside that he had to make a diving catch 4-on-1 to get outside of the DB. It was a good pass. He's throwing a couple of dots in stride. Here's what Canales said about the chemistry between Bryce Young and Deontay Johnson.
You want that marquee wide receiver to spread it around.
Yeah, I don't really know about numbers, but I know you have to have a starting point. He's a great one. He's a great place to start with our pass game. Let's formation things to start to try to make it. If you make a focal point, it opens everything else up. If they know that you're going to a certain player, defenses start to make their calls accordingly. And then that allows everybody else to kind of get space and do that, But what I know is you can't chase trying to get the ball to everyone, because then all of a sudden it just waters down what you're doing. You got to have a focal point in the run game so that you can throw your play actions. You got to have a focal point in the drop back pass game so that the rest of the things open up off of it. So he's doing a fantastic job. I love seeing the chemistry that he and Bryce are formulating. And again, he's still got a ways to go in terms of grasping what we're doing. He's doing a great job of just applying himself to it, working his tail off, making himself available, and really just taking those in-between windows to talk to Bryce, to make sure they're on the same page for stuff. So
he says BY and Deontay Johnson are making sure that they're on the same page, making sure the chemistry is good, but also making sure that Deontay Johnson is a part of the offense, not the focus on the offense. And I think that's important. I think it is important to make sure that you know who the guy is, but you also understand how the guy and the way that the guy plays within the system makes it easier for the other guys to do the same. And so far, and again, we've seen limited practice film, but in watching what I watched at FanFest last Thursday and that full open practice, some of the highlight films that have been coming out, etc., it kind of does feel like DJ and BY are on that same page right now. Here's a clip I pulled just for Lonzo, and I think it's an important one.
When I talk to some of these players, how are they going to describe you to me?
Hopefully they describe me as just connecting. I try to be intentional about where I'm at in the hallways, between meetings, passing through, before practice. I just want to get that one touch. I want to get that pound, the handshake. Some guys love to hug. I'm in. I love that.
Who's the hugger?
And oh shoot, they're all. It just depends on the day. I can tell though, because they're either like I'm feeling like this today,
yeah,
or it's like this. And then if I see the high hand, it's like we're going in for the real thing. This is great. So hopefully they would say that. Hopefully they would say that. I'm pushing them to throw this practice the way we want it, push them on the energy of the deal. And I think just, waking up every day and just with gratitude and trying to remind the guys, look how amazing this is. Look at this place. Look at this opportunity that we have. And to remind them that it's all of us. And the greatest respect that we can bring to each other is to bring your best, because it makes everyone better. And as we go to our games, all these games matter. If you're to tell me preseason 1 doesn't matter to the guys that are just on the cusp of maybe making this roster or not, you'd be crazy. I know how much this matters to them, and I'm just trying to point focus to it and heighten that experience for them so that everything we do matters. And
do I love it because it's coach speak and it's the coach I'm pulling for, or is this kind of cheesy cliche?
All right, so here's the thing. I'm all about the joy and the happiness and everything. But if he's still trying to do this in the middle of the season when they've only won 2 games, he's going to get a backlash from the players for sure. And actually from everybody.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong, even if things aren't going great, with wanting to dap up the boys, wanting to get the bro hug in, right?
You call me what? The something of idealism? Isn't that exactly what he is?
You are the emperor of idealism.
Emperor. Okay. All right. So isn't that exactly what he's doing?
I mean, to some degree, but I also think there is a spot for it. I mean, listen, we've all had relationship struggles, right? Like we've all had that spot where maybe you and the lady or maybe you and the fella aren't on the same page with each other. And what do? Do you walk into the room and you go, everything sucks, don't touch me, stay at? No, you walk into the room and you go, hey, we need to connect. We need to touch. We need to hold hands. We need to hug. We need to go out. We need to talk. We need to do something. Even when things are bad, it is important, I think, to stay dialed in on being there for and with each other. And that's the vibe I got from Canellis here. Like I said, is it cheesy? Yes, it's absolutely cheesy. But sometimes cheesy is what works.
See, I subscribe to the great philosopher Francis, who once said, "You touch my stuff, I kill you."
See, this is not me. We had the laugh yesterday at the house, the fiance and I, before I started Bet and Jam tonight last night, because we were talking about Deadpool Wolverine, right? And I was like, in this relationship, I'm Deadpool, you're Wolverine, right? Like, I just want to be around you all the time. I want to touch you whenever I get the chance. And you don't want that at all. Not that she doesn't love me, not that she's not, but she's just not, she's not a touchy-feely person. You all know somebody who's not a touchy-feely person. She loves me. She wants to be around me, but she doesn't want me like all up in her space all the time. And I, on the other hand, I'm the opposite. Physical touch is a love language of mine, okay? I like to hug. I like to put my hand on her thigh or wrap my arm around her shoulders when we're walking around or whatever. I'm Wade, and she's Logan. We know that about each other. And I've told her, like, if we are in a bad spot, I need you to meet me halfway, right? If we're in a bad spot, I need you to hold my hand. Make sure I know that you're in this still and not pull it away. Just like sometimes when you're in a bad way, I need to know that I need to leave you the hell alone sometimes. I kind of get that vibe from Dave Canales, love counselor here.
I don't know. He never said anything about it. He just was clearly positive the entire time. By the way, hugged in public again and you missed it.
With who?
Cherie. On stage.
Ugh, you jerk.
Well, she came in. I mean,
just remember, everybody.
You can't do that. I mean,
Lonzo, non-huggy guy, is just handing them out during award season. Not to you. Just whoever.
It is award season. I mean, it's a special occasion. Happens once a year.
Last one before we take a break. Talked about Chuba Hubbard.
To run the ball, as you've stated. What have you noticed about Chuba's mentality coming into this camp as at the top of your depth?
Oh, I love the attitude we're looking for. You talked about JC. There's a guy on offense, Chuba Hubbard, and this guy is like, he means it. Now, he runs angry, and he runs with the style that we want to be about. So I can't wait to give Chuba those opportunities to really, again, like as we find us, to really champion those guys that bring that kind of toughness.
He runs angry.
I don't know. Canales' positivity is starting to bother me. I hope it.
Yeah, we hate positivity around here.
I hope it works. No, because I'm worried that it's a false thing.
Dave's being positive.
You sick freak.
Ew.
No. I just the team.
Dave's being positive.
Feeling a weirdo?
Ew.
You know the team, right? Right. You know the team he's talking about, right? All right. He's not the worst team in the league last year, right? I'm just saying, okay? Build to the positive. I don't know if you start out that bubbly. I'm just,
Dave's being positive.
Shut it, please. My God, man.
Exactly. Where the heck is Dan Morgan? We need some balance here. Okay. Where's the Dan Morgan clips?
Where's the Dan? Okay, now I'm going to go find Dan Morgan clips. I also want to hear Lonzo do a sports flash.
I don't. But I have to. Los Angeles Chargers coach Jim Harbaugh, I don't mind talking about him, has claimed he had no knowledge of the sign-stealing scandal, that continues to develop at Michigan. Harbaugh said in a press conference, "I do not apologize. I do not participate. Was not aware, not complicit in those said allegations." Michigan head coach Sharon Moore faces more allegations for his involvement in that scandal. Team USA men's basketball will begin the knockout round today at 3:30 when they take on Brazil. Brazil is one of the best rebounding teams in the tournament with more offensive glass than any other team still standing and shoot three-pointers at a 45% rate. The Americans are fourth in rebounds per game, though they have scored 100-plus points in all 3 games so far. You have to rebound when you're making all your shots, except for Steph Curry because he's horrible. Tune in this afternoon from 3 to 7 p.m. for a brand new local show, Wire to Wire. Cole Bryson and Diesel get you up to date on the latest local and national sports news. Great guests, great debate, And it's all a lot of fun and wire to wire. I don't know. I guess it depends on, do you want to be an emperor or a czar? I think a czar is like more nefarious. I don't know. And can you be a nefarious idealist? I don't know. Too much daggum philosophy in this here place. La 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 la. Rob has made it 3 hours. It's one more hour to go. I think he's going to do it. Well, he just sneezed in the hallway and it was extremely loud. So glad it wasn't in the room. It's okay. Fine, Joe. You're right. Either way, emperor or czar don't really work with idealism. Well, I guess it does. I don't know. Am I the only one? I probably am. So in quiet moments, a jingle from a commercial like from the 1970s pops into my head. I want a crust just like a crust made by dear old mom. I don't know why that pops in my head, but it does on occasion. So
if I hear, and I'm about to do it to myself, the O'Reilly jingle, it'll stay in there for days. No reason. I've never been in an O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Well, it just means the person who wrote it knew what they were doing. See, I like that, Joe. I like that better, but that's two big words in a row, and I don't know. Well, it's not in a row. There's
idealism is perfect.
Can we be a consortium of idealism? That
means I would be there with you.
I know. So you're not. No. That's what I'm saying. Could we be? I mean, could you come over to my side? I mean, a little bit, and I mean, I'm not going as far as Dave Canales because he's like beyond me. I'm not doing that. But 3 friends are in the first break.
Beautiful.
They are, all 3 of them in the first break.
$54 minutes.
Or plop, plop, fizz, fizz.
Joe,
what a
James.
relief it is.
James. Final hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Spectacular to have you with us here on the radio broadcast. I got to put the shades on because you know what we have to talk about now. Ladies and gentlemen, another episode of Law and Order Ann Arbor. Like with the music playing too. That's why he's award winning. Specifically 3-time winner of the South Carolina Broadcasters Association Sports Talk Radio Show of the Year.
Well, I've won it more than that, but
okay.
I mean, but with you, I mean, I was just trying to be accurate.
Gotta get it right. Gotta get the accolades right for the great one. All right, just have to.
There's a great in there for a reason.
Speaking of great, Jim Harbaugh decided to take the stand yesterday out at Chargers practice and talk a little bit about the connection, or in his words, lack thereof, to the Michigan sign stealing scandal.
Yeah, I do have a comment on that. Never lie, never cheat, never steal. I was raised with that lesson. I have raised my family on that lesson. I have preached that lesson to the teams that I've coached. No one's perfect. If you stumble, you apologize, and you make it right. Today, I do not apologize. I did not participate, was not aware, nor complicit in those said allegations. So for me, it's back to work and attacking with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
All right, there's a cadence to lying. I don't know if you noticed. I did not have sex with that woman, Miss Lewinsky.
You got to do the half finger point. Though,
yeah, right. But the cadence there. I did not take steroids. Notice the cadence.
Hit him with the Rafael Palmeiro right there.
Yeah. Notice that there's a common cadence between the three. At least that's what I, as a guy who listens for a living, I think there's a connection there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I do have a comment on that. Never lie, never cheat, never steal.
Eddie Guerrero is very mad right now. Very mad. Viva la raza. I heard this yesterday. And listen, I'll tell you where I'm at with this whole thing. Do I think Harbaugh's connected? I don't. But I don't think he wasn't either. I don't know is the answer. The comparison that I made earlier in the show is, for those of you like me that watched The Sopranos back in the day. Big fan. Well, I didn't watch it back in the day, but I recently watched The Sopranos and thoroughly enjoyed it. One of the things that Tony Soprano, who started the show, season 1 as an underling, and then eventually became de facto boss, right? His uncle Junior was the boss, but he let Junior be the boss. So if the cop showed up, Junior would take the fall. And then he eventually became the acting boss of the New Jersey Mafia. One of the things that Tony very frequently did is he would be very vague about things that, it'd be nice if this happened, right? I'm just saying, it'd be nice if the guy running that restaurant was told maybe he's got to pay a little protection money. You know, I'm not saying that any of you guys should go over there and make that happen. I'm just saying, might be nice if it did. And that would give Tony Soprano plausible deniability. So if the goon that was doing the thing got caught, they couldn't directly connect it back to Tony. Tony wouldn't tell his family about what was going on, wouldn't tell Carmela Soprano what he was getting into. Why? So that if Carmela got picked up by the fuzz, she wouldn't know. She wouldn't be able to rat because she didn't know where the cheese is. And I kind of, in a weird way, get that vibe from Harbaugh and the way that he said all this, right? It was kind of like, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I never asked for this to happen. I never told anybody to do this thing. I don't know what went down. Okay? I'm saying I don't do crimes. I just happen to know people who do.
Well, there is a worst case scenario, and people don't like bringing it up. I don't like bringing it up either. But Joe Paterno said he didn't know what was going on either. And he was held accountable for it. And in this case, it don't look good for Harbaugh how he bolted after the season was over.
We talked about that last night on BetMGM. I was like, yo, does Jim Harbaugh's on the Mount Rushmore of ditching, right? Like on the Mount Rushmore of ghosting a squad. It was like, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to head back to the NFL. Coming off a natty. Bringing back a good team. Yeah, not as good, right? Not without J.J. McCarthy, not without Blake Corum, not without a lot of the defense, but like a good team. For him to just jettison like that is an all-time great bleep you, I'm out moment, for sure. So I listened to this. And I listened to this quote from Jim Harbaugh, and I kind of fall into a spot where I'm like, That sure does sound like a guy who told his staff, hey, I'm not saying anybody should go out there and do anything. I'm just saying, we got Michigan State coming to the house next week. It would be very, very nice if we happen to know what they want to do. It would be very, very nice if somebody whose last name happened to be the same as like a horse's was to go out there and like wear a bad goatee and some funny glasses out on the sideline and see if they might go pick up a thing or two and bring it back to the casa, bring it back to the house. That's the vibe I get. Are you going to be able to prove Harbaugh was in any way connected to all this? Probably not. Probably not, because the guy's not an idiot.
But if they do, what are the repercussions?
That's a spectacular question. What are the repercussions? What should the punishment be for what happened? And the answer is, I don't know. Right? And we talked about this very briefly yesterday in yesterday's episode of Law and Order Ann Arbor. I don't know. Because on one hand, it's like the NCAA should, as Thor said, bring the hammer down. On the flip side, and this is my concern if I'm keeping it a buck with you, they don't do anything. And they don't do anything because it's in the past and they hope people are just going to forget or stop caring. Because again, let's be honest with each other. We kind of as a country have a habit of that, right? We kind of have a country, like a habit as a country of seeing something bad happen. Everybody gets real mad online about it. And then we just like hang out for a minute or two. And then something else happens and we forget about the bad thing that happened. And we just move on to the next thing. But what I told Zoe yesterday, and he didn't get on board with this, but what I told Zoe yesterday was this. I think the NCAA is terrified right now. I think the NCAA is terrified right now because they are waiting for the SEC and the Big Ten to say, we don't really need you anymore. We're gonna do our own thing. We're gonna create our own league, and it's just going to be for us and nobody else. And so the NCAA kind of comes off as like the desperate boyfriend who, outkicked the coverage with the lady, but that lady's kind of figured it out a little bit. And she's like, hey, I'm going out. I'm going out to the bar tonight. Oh, can I come? No, I'm going out to the bar without you. I'm dressing up. I'm putting on the LBD. I'm putting on the nice makeup, and I'm going to hit the bar without you. And because that dude is terrified of being left, he goes, okay, sweetie, here's my credit card. Why don't you take my card? Drinks on me. That lady's going out to meet dudes, dude. But that dude is so scared he's going to get left that he's like, can I make that easier for you? Can I give you my credit card? Can I pay for that? Let me call you in an Uber back and forth. Right? And everybody else on the outside looking in is like, oh, you poor, pathetic little waste. You little coward, man. Tell her no. Tell her you're not down with that. Tell her you're not okay with it. Tell her no. But that dude's not going to do it. And he's not going to do it because she goes, okay, fine. We're broken up. We're not together anymore. The difference is that guy could pick up his life and move on. If the Big Ten and the Southeastern Conference ditch the NCAA is basically cooked, right? They become a second-tier organization. That's just a fact. That's how it's going to be. The ACC and the Big 12, even if they stay with the NCAA, Clemson and Florida State are still leaving. They are still going to the Big 10 or the SEC. And then all of a sudden, teams in the Big 12, they might want to follow, right? And now whatever's left in those conferences, they're gone. So I said yesterday, we can sit here all day. We can sit here all day and say, this is what I think the NCAA should do. They should pull the natty, or Michigan should lose 1,000 scholarships over the next 5 years, or they should do this, or they should do that. But at the end of the day, none of it matters, because the NCAA does not want to light the fuse on the Big Ten going, well, then screw you. We're out. If you're going to take the natties away and prevent us from bragging about them, then bleep you, we'll go do our own thing. And I would be shocked if the SEC and the Big Ten weren't already doing that. I'd be shocked if the SEC and the Big Ten weren't already quietly investigating how to make their own league, how to make that work. How do they get out of the NCAA? How do they prop up their own football governmental organization so they can make even more money? Because that's what it's about. If the NCAA steps in right now and does something that the Big Ten considers negative, consequential to them, then maybe that's what pulls the trigger right now. The NCAA feels, and correct me if I'm wrong or if you disagree here, the NCAA feels feckless right now. They feel toothless. Nobody respects the NCAA right now. Nobody respects the NCAA. And for the record, how could they? Like, how could they? What has the NCAA done except roll over time and time again? When the NIL thing came down the pipe and folks said, oh man, like it's going to happen, but we should probably go ahead and start working on creating guidelines, creating rules, creating guardrails so this thing doesn't get out of control. What did the NCAA do? They said, hey, y'all got this. Y'all got this. Yeah, we're just kicking on down the road a little bit. Y'all figure it out. And it led to what? An NIL landscape that has very, very few limitations on it. When the transfer portal became a thing that became inevitable, everybody said, yo, NCAA, you should probably think about setting up some guidelines, some protocols, some rules and regulations about what the transfer portal can and should look like. And the NCAA said, that seems like work. That seems like work. I don't want to do that. Y'all got this, right? Y'all got this. Y'all can make this happen. And nothing happened. And the transfer portal, depending on who you ask, it's the wild, wild west out here, y'all. Howdy.
You should have tried like a Michigan accent for that, like specifically a Detroit accent.
It's the wild, wild west out here, y'all. No, that's bad.
I think we all got it, though. That's fine. That worked for me.
Point is, the NCAA has not done anything. They're not going to do anything. So we can sit here all day and argue about what penalties should be applied to the Michigan Wolverines. But that's the same as Lonzo and I sitting here having a conversation about what color we're going to paint our Lamborghinis. It doesn't matter. Is it a fun conversation to have? Sure. Could I make some real good arguments about why I'm a black on black on black on black guy for my Lamborghini? Absolutely. Could Lonzo sit here and tell you why he's painting his royal purple? Absolutely. Is there any point to us having that conversation? No.
Mace Windu, man.
Big fan. I think I've talked to Lady after the wedding in September. We're doing like a week, like 3 days of traveling around Florida and taking our time getting back up here. I've talked her into a great one, day at Disney, and that includes at least a handful of hours in Star Wars land. I'm 100% building a lightsaber, and it's 100% going to be purple. It's going to look cool. Can't wait.
I think you don't have a choice but to do that. I still haven't been to Disney yet. Maybe when I retire to Florida, which is the law, I'll do it then.
I can't wait. It's going to be great. All right. Point is here.
What, you can't wait till I retire, or you can't wait to build your...
Oh, that's mean.
He never answered the question. You noticed that, right?
No, I need you to retire. We got it. You can retire in 2 years when you get us to 5 time.
Why don't we go for 10? I don't know if you and I will survive, but I mean, 10.
I don't know if I'll make it at 10 more years.
Come on, you got this. I mean, you got
Hey,
40,
Paul,
you got
dude,
44 minutes, and for someone who wasn't sure they could do it today, you have brought it. And
I am fighting for my life. You came in the studio 30 minutes ago, and I was laying on the floor.
I didn't want to say anything about that.
I'll own it.
Yeah, but you warned me. It was if I had a chalk outline, I would have put some yellow tape or something. I mean,
You came. I am fighting for my life right now. Alonso came back from the restroom, and I was laying on the floor because it's the only way I could feel better through that break to get back up and bring it.
You've had experience with that, though, probably laying on the floor.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with yes on that. Of course, the floor you're usually laying on is probably a lot cooler.
I don't know. I don't know if I don't quite know how to answer that, to be honest.
It is what it is.
I think you just don't want to work a full week. I mean, I think you've reached diva status. And you're like, and I can't. 5 days. You want me to go 5 days.
I'm team 4-day work week for the record. I am absolutely team 4-day work week.
I think most people are if they could.
I don't know. There's a lot of people that have like a gut reaction to it. They're like, absolutely not. Why? Because it's just not what we do. We should do a 4-day work week. 4-day work week, 3-day weekends.
France or Switzerland or someplace like that. It's America.
Where everybody else does it and is wildly happy about it. Screw that.
Well, you and I both work 6 days a week, so working 4 days would be really weird.
6 days a week. Also, Sunday, I'll be on BetQL Network.
See, that's on you. I mean, take a break, dude.
Oh, I know it is.
Don't you want to make it to your wedding? I mean,
I felt bad putting in like 8 days worth of vacation requests for that from both. I felt real bad about it. I felt less bad than Jim Harbaugh did, apparently, by the way.
Yeah, he was because his mantra, whatever the end of that thing was.
Back to work and attacking with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
There we go.
Attacking with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind.
I'm just going to say Dave Canales sounds more like a guy who has an enthusiasm unknown to mankind compared to Harbaugh speaking.
I mean, I know a lot of enthusiasm, Unknown is Jim Harbaugh capable of having an enthusiasm that is more enthusiastic than mine? I'm a pretty enthusiastic guy.
Maybe he's a robot.
It might be.
Because we would not know what that felt like as a robot or an alien.
All right, 844-326-3663, 844-FANFONE. You can shoot us a text at 71307, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N. We will read them on the air. Tweet me at The Rob Brown Show. Tweet Lonzo at Lonzo on Word. Tweet us all at The Fan of State. When we come back here in just a minute, got a few more things that I want to get into. Our coaches preseason college football poll is out. Where do the ACC teams stack up? Maybe we talk a little Atlanta Braves baseball. Reynaldo Lopez has been sent to the 15-day DL with right forearm inflammation. So everything's super awesome in Atlanta right now. Super, super duper awesome for the Braves. We'll see. Now I just depressed myself. It's the Rob Brown Show. It's the Fan Upstate.
Free friends.
Be right back, guys.
bank that puts you in control. Visit chase.com/check. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. JP Morgan Chase Bank and member FDIC. Savings. Now that's speaking the Lowe's language. And when you join My Lowe's Rewards for free, savings just keep coming. Save money, member-only offers, plus earn points when you shop. More points equal more rewards. Just for you. Because Lowe's knows you earned it. Literally. Learn more about our loyalty program at Lowe's.com/MyLowe'sRewards and become a member for free today. Program subject to conditions. Points reward on eligible purchases. See Lowe's.com/terms for full details. Subject to change. Hey, this is Diesel and Cole Bryson with
That's the thing, James. In the end, they don't. How many games does Carolina have to win before it's not promos that he's cutting, but it's a change of mentality in
You don't feel that
Carolina?
already? I feel like that already.
I love what he's saying, but I want to see it reflected on the field, and we're not going to. We'll get a taste of it Thursday night. I don't know. Is Bryce playing Thursday?
He said yesterday he doesn't know yet. Maybe, maybe not.
Well, I guess even under Andy Dalton, we're going to get an idea of what the
Yeah,
offense
he's got a
might be
quad
like.
injury. May not see either one of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who's three?
Lonzo was having a conversation with James on the stream during the break there that I found kind of interesting. And I wanted to bring up here. We played some clips earlier from Dave Canales, the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. In fact, I'll let me see if I can pull that clip back up, and I'll play it for you one more time, because Dave Canales was having a conversation with America's sweetheart, Kay Adams. She asked him kind of the attitude of the team. Here's what Dave said.
When I talk to some of these players, how are they going to describe you to me?
Hopefully they describe me as just connecting. You know, I try to be intentional about where I'm at in the hallways, between meetings, passing through, before practice. I just want to get that one touch. I want to get that pound, the handshake. Some guys love to hug. I'm in. I love that.
Who's the hugger?
And oh shoot, they're all. It just depends on the day. You know, I can tell though, because they're either like I'm feeling like this today,
Yeah.
or it's like this. And then if I see the high hand, it's like we're going in for the real thing. This is great. So hopefully they would say that. Hopefully they would say that. You know, I'm pushing them to throw this practice the way we want it. Push them on the energy of the deal. And I think just waking up every day and just with gratitude and trying to remind the guys, look how amazing this is. Look at this place. Look at this opportunity that we have, and to remind them that it's all of us. And the greatest respect that we can bring to each other is to bring your best, because it makes everyone better. And as we go to our games, all these games matter. If you're to tell me preseason 1 doesn't matter to the guys that are just on the cusp of maybe making this roster or not, you'd be crazy. I know how much this matters to them, and I'm just trying to point focus to it and heighten that experience for them so that everything we do matters and everything counts.
So, James and Lonzo were having a conversation on the stream during the break. And by the way, the stream is up every day, all 4 hours. You're very welcome. They were having a conversation on the stream during the break about whether or not this was Dave Canales like cutting a promo about, positivity and optimism. Do you believe? I believe in Dave Canales. Or is this genuinely, like, do you genuinely feel, the times they are a-changing? And I think, honestly, I think it's a very valid and fair question to ask.
How many times have we been burned as Carolina fans, thinking the next guy is gonna change them? And it's been a while since Carolina's won anything.
I don't disagree. So, but what I asked of Lonzo right before we came back onto the stream there a second ago, what I asked of the great one was, do you not kind of feel that already? Like, is it just me? Am I being overly optimistic here? Because I kind of already feel like that attitude has changed. I already kind of feel like this is a different vibe around this team. I already kind of feel like I have bought in to there being a change in mentality, right? When Matt Rule showed up, I was very apprehensive about it. If I could take you back in time a couple of years, you would hear it. I was I was like, I don't know, man. Like, this guy's done a good job of building up franchises or programs at the college level, but I don't have any reason to believe that he's going to be able to translate that to the NFL. It's a different breed of cat. The list of coaches who have failed moving from college to the NFL is dramatically higher than the list of coaches that have succeeded. So I don't really trust. I don't really believe in this. When Frank Reich showed up, I was a little bit more optimistic than I was about the Matt Rule era because Frank Reich had been there. Frank Reich had done that. Frank Reich had gone into a program before and made something happen. And I was willing to say, yeah, I think Jim Irsay, I think Jim Irsay screwed up with Frank Reich. Turns out Jim Irsay was exactly right. Frank Reich just didn't have it anymore. And that kind of busted us up a little bit as well. But the thing that the things that Matt Rule was missing, that is, he's shown that he can work with NFL guys and speak to them on the level of an NFL guy. We've seen that. We saw it with Geno Smith. We talked about Geno Smith last night on BetMGM Tonight. Go look at the statistics of Geno Smith from the Dave Canales year to the year after. He lost about 6% passing accuracy. He threw for about 600 fewer yards. He threw for 10 fewer touchdowns and more interceptions. I wouldn't chalk that up specifically and exclusively to Dave Canales, except for then he went down to Tampa Bay and he did it with Baker Mayfield the very next year. And that's a direct connection. Baker was there a year before. Team was fine. Dave Canales shows up all of a sudden. Baker Mayfield gets a $100 million contract. I have direct evidence that Dave Canales can work with NFL guys on an NFL level and get them to buy in. And then Frank Reich. What was Frank Reich missing? Golly, any sort of energy. Frank Reich was like a children's toy with a dead battery. I'm gonna go do football now. He's like the Eeyore of coaches.
Yeah, when you get old, I mean, things slow down.
Yeah, I know.
They do.
That's why I've said, I think once you get to 65, you should have to retest for your driver's license every year because y'all be slowing up traffic bad.
Well, I think some people, it might be a little bit earlier than that.
That's also true. Point here is, it slowed down for Frank Reich. And you could feel that, man. Like when they brought him over, I'm like, okay, we got a shot here. And then within 2 press conferences, I was like, oh, dude, if I ever suffer from another bout of narcolepsy, scratch that. What's the one you can't fall asleep? I'm struggling.
Insomnia.
Yes. If I ever struggle with another bout of insomnia, I'm just going to listen to Frank Reich press conferences, man. Hey, everybody. Happy to be here. Let's go, Panther. All right, dude. Come on.
That's not a bad Eeyore, by the way.
Canales has everything those two guys didn't. In fact, I would say the one big thing that each one of those guys was missing, Dave Canales has both of those things. He's got a track record of being able to work with NFL guys, communicate with NFL guys, and get them to see everything. We've seen that out of him. That's not what Matt Rule was. Or I should say, and the opposite of Frank Reich. While Canales isn't necessarily the greatest public speaker in the world, at least you're listening to him. At least he doesn't sound like I said, Alexa, play an NFL coaches speak so I can fall asleep. We think Bryce Young can be good. Like, nah. Canales at least gives you a little juice, a little gas, a little energy, a little bite, right? So I would say, and this is what I asked Lonzo when he said, hey, we'll see. We'll see. My answer was, I don't know if it's going to translate to the field. I don't know if it's going to translate to success. I don't know if it's going to translate to dubs for the Carolina Panthers. But do you not already feel like there's a mentality shift? Even if it's just Dave Canales. Dave Canales and Dan Morgan. Does it not feel like there's already an attitude shift, or am I just being optimistic? Final segment of the Rob Brown Show's up next on the final episode. The Fan Upstate.
Award winning, by the way. I just want you guys to know that.
Golly. Is melting down in the final 60 of the year.
You want to fight? I might pick you up before you leave.
I don't. I don't have it in me.
That's where he said Jake Plummer. Did he? Is Jake Plummer like back, or it's his son? Gotta look it up and make sure I'm Diesel accurate, or he is.
Like to lose unhealthy fat without counting points or calories. No exercising, no prepackaged meals, no HCG, no drugs, and no surgery. Go to mynewlifeweightloss.com now.
Hey, it's Rob Brown. When I started working with New Life, I was over 262 pounds. I am now under 216, and I am going to keep going because it's easy. And if you work with New Life Weight Loss right now, not only will you lose the weight, but if you mention the Rob Brown Show, you're getting $250 off the program through August 31st.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about.
No, I don't want to spin the win. I just want to know. Panthers just signed Jake Luton. It's Jack Plummer. Okay. I'm pretty sure he said Jake.
Save big on back to school with Staples Hot Deals. Right now, 24-pack Crayola crayons and comp books are only 50 cents each at Staples. Penzi 24 each.
Let's talk about the pole vaulter again. That'll add some spark to the final segment. He got offered $250,000 by a.
I didn't read the article. I didn't read the article, but I did send you the TMZ thing of that. So I didn't want to click on it. Way to go, Timmy. Good job. Got my granddaughter to watch Labyrinth yesterday. Mostly. I mean, it's hard to keep a 6-year-old's attention, but yes. There are a lot of questions of, is that a guy or a girl? You know, stuff like that.
You don't put David Bowie in a box.
You know, how bad does the Bog of Eternal Stench smell? It wasn't worded that way, but you know. It's really into potty humor because, you know, 6-year-olds are, so I thought you would like the Bog of Eternal Stench.
The Rob Brown Show continues.
What the heck was that, dude?
Get the button to go, dude.
What was that?
Listen,
Are you sure you're safe to drive home? I mean,
I tell y'all that I am fighting for my life today, All right. I'm here because champions rise to the occasion. I'm here because there's no off season on the Rob Brown Show. Even if you're down, even if you're banged up, are you hurt or are you injured? I'm playing hurt today.
Rub some daggum dirt on it, Rob Brown.
I did. I'm here. I'm fighting for my life. I couldn't push a button just now. We're struggling. All right, let's get some sports in here as we go. By the way, Dave Canales did tell us yesterday that we do not know if we will see Bryce Young coming up on Thursday, and we do not know if we will see Bryce Young in the preseason at all yet. We don't know. Bryce Young is effectively, they're trying to protect the guy. Right now, I will say this. If you're not comfortable throwing BY out there right now, after fall, after spring, if you're not comfortable putting him out there behind that offensive line, my level of concern skyrockets a little bit, right? Like if you're not comfortable throwing the guy out there. Now, here is a question that we talked about last night on the show, and I'd like to get your opinion, great one, as well as you, Rob Brown Show Armada. We talked to Steve Smith on Thursday last week. And we asked about, development, quarterback development, et cetera, specifically. And Steve Smith said that he had a conversation with Packers quarterback Jordan Love. And he said, Jordan, where do you think you would be if instead of spending a couple of years behind Aaron Rodgers, you would have been drafted by the Packers and thrown straight into the mix? And he said that Jordan Love told him, I wouldn't be where I am. I learned a lot. I developed a lot so that when it was time to check in, I felt like I really had a lot more of the game in the brain, in the membrane than I would have if I would have gotten thrown into the mix from the beginning, right? And I think that's good. I think that's fair. I wonder what percentage of rookie quarterbacks really are NFL ready after one spring and one fall camp. I wonder how many NFL quarterbacks are ready. The Commanders right now drafted Jaden Daniels. You guys, how I feel about Jaden Daniels. I think Jaden Daniels will be the best quarterback out of this class. I think he will be better than Caleb Williams, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be a star. The last quarterback I said that about was Lamar Jackson. I think he's going to be a star. But
do you still think he's going to be a star?
Yeah, I do. A shooting star.
Okay.
I think he's going to be a stud.
Mm-hmm.
But the Commanders have said, we don't know if we're playing him as QB1 yet. We don't know if we want to throw him into a week one starting spot or if we want to give him some time to develop. Right now, Marcus Mariota is their number 2. Jeff Driscoll, their number 3.
We have
Sam Hartman, their number 4, by the way.
We have the prime example of a quarterback sitting for a season. And that would be some guy in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Because he did not play his first year.
Correct. I think that's absolutely right.
He played one game that was like a garbage game, and that was it.
And so, and on top of that, let's be very clear. That's not to say there are no quarterbacks that can come in year one, week one, and thrive. CJ Stroud did it. Anthony Richardson did it. But please recognize that those guys are the exception, not the rule.
So far. But with the game being what it is now and the fact that college is advancing in a lot of ways, becoming more NFL-like on the field too, some of these guys played at big games and they already have money and they're coming in and those kind of distractions aren't there anymore and they're a little more NFL ready.
I think that you are correct. College football is advancing and will continue to do so. But it's still played at, regardless of the technicality of offenses and defenses, it's played at a lower level, right? It is. The teams are not as good, right? Even the best teams in college football have 2, 3, 4, 5 All-Americans. Everybody's an All-American in the NFL.
Well, it's definitely a tier system from Pee Wee up to NFL.
For sure.
Of course, when you get to the NFL, everyone's the best.
Everyone's the
and
best.
that guy playing on the bench was the best somewhere, probably.
Sure, without a doubt. So, what I'm looking at with this transfer from college up to the NFL, there are some guys that are just ready to go. CJ Stroud was one of those guys, ready to go. Anthony Richardson, one of those guys, ready to go. And then there's a lot of guys that aren't. A lot of guys that aren't ready to go out of the gate. And they take some time. Bryce Young's in that group, as far as I'm concerned. The right play, and again, it's easy to say this in retrospect, right? It's easy to say this looking backwards. But I absolutely think the right play would have been to allow Bryce Young a year to sit, a year to learn. Now, teams don't want to do that. Why? Because you got effectively 3 or 4 years of paying a rookie guy rookie money. You got 3 or 4 years of paying a guy rookie contract money before, even if he doesn't play a lot, he goes, all right, it's quarterback league. You got to pay me. Even if it's a backup, you got to pay me more than you were paying me as a rookie quarterback. And so teams want to get as much mileage out of a young quarterback as they can while the contract is cheaper. They want to get as much mileage out of a guy as they can while a contract isn't kicking the payroll out from under them like that first extension does. So the way that I look at it is teams have got to start letting guys sit. They've got to. If the Commanders are making that decision because they're looking at Jaden Daniels and they're going, yo, he's good, but he's not ready yet. Good. I don't want to throw that guy right into the fire, especially on a fine but less talented team. I don't want to throw that guy right into the fire just to have him end up in a spot where he is out of his depth, right? Just to throw him into a spot where he's out of his depth, where he's just not ready. I think that's what happened to Bryce Young. I put it on to the fact that Frank Reich was not good. I put it on to the fact that he had multiple offensive coordinators. I put it on to the fact that that team was a calamity. The Carolina Panthers were. But I also think Bryce Young is a guy that would have benefited, especially because I look at CJ Stroud and I look at Anthony Richardson. And there is one common denominator between those two guys. Zoe, correct me if I'm wrong here. Both of those guys are dramatically bigger, more physical, play a different style of ball than Bryce Young does. Bryce Young is a guy, whether you think he can or will or whatever, Bryce Young's a guy that plays a more cerebral style of football. He's a guy that plays a more brain-impacted style of football. It's not to say that C.J. Stroud and Anthony Richardson don't, but both of those guys utilize their physicality to open up the field. Bryce Young can't and doesn't do that. There's a difference. So Bryce Young, to me, if your game is based on the gray matter and not your quads, you need more time. Now, that does make it interesting for Jaden Daniels because he's more CJ Stroud than he is Bryce Young. He's more Anthony Richardson than he is Bryce Young. But I think that Bryce Young would have benefited. That's why I say this is his rookie year. Like, I know it aggravates people. I don't care. This is his rookie year. He's gotten his experience, his time to learn, to grow, whatever. Now he's paired up with a guy who is speaking quarterback, who has spoken quarterback. And I think that puts him in a good spot. But I'm considering this his rookie year. I think NFL teams are throwing guys into the fire too quick. Jordan Love is the example. And for the record, Jordan Love is more CJ Stroud than he is Bryce. Jordan Love's a guy that's more about being able to challenge defenses to the tackle box than Bryce Young is. But they gave that guy time to sit, time to learn, time to relax, time to understand, time to get it. They gave that guy the opportunity to grow under Aaron Rodgers of the football persuasion. And when you know it, when it was time for him to go, he was ready. He had his time. He had gotten his time. And we didn't do that with Bryce Young, which I think is a problem. That's why I keep saying this is that dude's rookie year in my ever so humble yet frequently correct opinion.
And now the Rob Brown Show presents Twitter.
It is magic to Rob's ears. What the X is
What
going
the X?
on?
Seriously, dude.
Yeah. And this is where, even in his weekend state, I'm going to ask Rob what the X is going on. And he
His
might,
weekend
he might know.
state.
He might, yeah. I mean, you're slumping over there, dude. You're slouching. You don't normally do that.
Listen,
Yeah,
I'm falling
sorry.
apart over here,
Yeah,
bud.
all right. The first thing that's Xing is Big E.
So I haven't watched Raw yet. I meant to watch it live last night. Ended up on BetMGM tonight. Didn't get a chance to. But apparently somebody made a debut for the New Day yesterday.
Yeah, Odyssey Jones came out. Odyssey Jones is a really, he's a large man, and it was in NXT for a long time. He got called up, hadn't seen him. Now Xavier Woods does not seem very happy about it. So they actually are going to get rid of the New Day. It's going to happen.
He is, as McAfee would say, one big son of a.
Yes, he is. I
did see earlier somebody on Twitter called him Bigger E.
Yeah, and so as soon as you replace Big E with another guy, it's a problem.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I think Kofi and Xavier have both made it pretty clear that like they're happy where their career went, where they are, and I don't think there's anything those two guys would want more than to end their runs in ring against each other. Both of them are more than capable of sticking around, being backstage managers, being out front characters, hyping their YouTube channel, whatever.
Kofi's a lot older too, so I mean, but Kofi is being made out to be the bad guy, and him bringing someone else in and not telling Xavier Woods about it is just another step towards the end of that. And I hate to see it go, but it does need to end eventually. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Max Headroom.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time. Max Headroom. Did somebody hijack a TV channel in Chicago again?
I don't know why. Usually when you look to see why something's Xing, you'll have a bunch of different things. It's just a clip of him over and over again. There was one where they put Joe Biden in there, which was hilarious. I didn't get to hear it, but I mean, it looked like it fit. But other than that, I don't know why. Sometimes nostalgic things to start trending because someone, hey, remember this type thing? And that's what I'm guessing it is.
There was on YouTube, you can go watch the old Max Headroom, the actual hijacked broadcast that went on. It's wild to watch, dude.
Well, and it's basically a cyberpunk kind of situation, and it was ahead of its time. All right, the next thing that's Xing is Harrison Butker.
Texter said, Rob, thank you for what you do to your bodies. It's still real to me, damn it. You're welcome. This is not kayfabe, by the way. I'm getting it hate. I texted Lonzo at like 5:20 this morning. I'm like, dude, I'm coming in, but you might have to carry me literally and metaphorically throughout this show. All right, what's the next one?
Harrison Butker.
Harrison Butker is trending because the Kansas City Chiefs just made Harrison Butker the second most accurate kicker in the National Football League, the highest paid kicker in the National Football League. Now gets more money than Baltimore's Justin Tucker. Obviously, Harrison Butker has had, shall we say, a interesting offseason in his discussions away from the football field. Doesn't matter. A man can kick field goals. He makes money.
I don't know if you get percentages off of jersey sales, but if you do, he probably got quite a bit of money because his jersey sales escalated. But I remember sitting on the hill in Panther practice watching him miss after miss after miss. And then they sent him to Kansas City. I'm like, oh, no.
Oh, no.
But I was wrong, and I'm glad I was wrong. The next thing that's Xing is moonwalk.
Moonwalk. I got nothing. Who did a moonwalk?
All right.
Somebody did a cool moonwalk.
The USA. I forget the name of the team where they're where they're all in sync in the water.
Synchronized swimming.
Yes, that's it. But they did it upside down.
Is it a moonwalk?
Well, you'll have to watch it. I was skeptical too, but you can see it's technically a moonwalk.
Obviously, I'm going to do that.
But it is everywhere. It looks really cool. I have no idea if there's actually music playing when they do that. So, If so, they wouldn't be able to hear it. I mean, I guess.
Synchronized swimming has got to how? Just how? I mean, I know it's timing, it's rhythm, whatever, but just how? How do you end up getting into that?
I don't know.
I don't
Be a good swimmer and have some rhythm, I suppose.
Be a good swimmer. I mean, I guess that's the number one thing. That is the number one quality of anything.
Well,
in
I
the
guess
water.
they're not technically swimming. I don't know.
Hey, that's it for us. If I don't die, I'll be back tomorrow.
Stop it.
We'll see how that goes. Lonzo will one way or the other. Y'all have a lovely rest of your day. Thanks for being here. Don't drink and drive. I'll punch you in the face for the great one. I'm Rob. See you back here tomorrow to do it all over again, but better on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. Later.
I really don't give a.
All right, y'all. It's not that I don't love you. It's that I don't love me.
Yeah. That's what you just did.
I'm going to tell you. I'm dying. All right. Everything hurts and I'm dying. So we're going. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.